Chapter 2657. Yi Zichen didn't like doing things in the parallel world step by step. Back on Earth, Gu Zichen had arranged a series of paths for him. It could be said that he'd laid out everything Yi Zichen needed to do. All Yi Zichen had to do was follow his path. However, Yi Zichen didn't do that. He didn't like it. He'd always believed in one thing. Although saying it out loud might hurt, he'd never told Gu Zichen about it. The reason Gu Zichen had failed was because there was something wrong with his mind. In other words, there was a huge problem with his decision-making. If the paths he'd recommended to Yi Zichen had been correct, and he had the ability to judge whether they were correct or not, then his plane wouldn't have been destroyed. If it was destroyed, it would prove that there was something wrong with it. In that case, the path he'd chosen for Yi Zichen was naturally wrong. Not only would Yi Zichen not follow his path, but he would also avoid it on purpose to avoid following in his footsteps. The facts prove that Yi Zichen was right. He hadn't followed Gu Zichen's plan. In the end, he'd succeeded. Yale hadn't destroyed the world, and the Milky Way galaxy had remained unscathed, walking the same path as the destroyed planes. In the end, he would only fail. But the old path was worth learning from. Yi Zichen would be able to learn from other planes, such as when the war would begin. That way, he'd be able to better defend the Milky Way. The scope of the war. What would happen in the Archmoon galaxy in the future? Trump card. A series of things that were beneficial to Yi Zichen. He would also be able to find out who among the allies led by the Virtual World Corporation was truly trustworthy, who would betray them halfway, or who were spies to begin with. If in the middle of the war, the spies suddenly revolted or were betrayed, it would have a huge impact on the situation. It was very possible. It was not impossible that it would directly lead to the defeat of the war. What a pity! Yi Zichen had never considered this problem before. If he had, he would have asked Gu Zichen how to contact him, or how to shatter the void and travel to other planes. Now, even if he thought of all these, he couldn't execute it. And there was another very important point. Gu Zichen had managed to shatter a plane to get here, but at the time, his power hadn't even reached the domain stage. In this vast universe, there were many who were stronger than him. Could there be others who know about the broken plane? Could it be that someone had already gone to the shattered planes? Could it be that if Star-Lord Sanyue had gone to other planes to investigate, then how would the Milky Way galaxy be preserved? This was definitely the worst possibility. But if when Li and the others went from the broken planes that favored the Milky Way galaxy, gradually, Yi Zichen's brows grew solemn. He had the strength of his shattered planes. It was just that he didn't know how to break the plane. He hoped that no one knew, and even if there was, it definitely couldn't be someone from the Sanyue galaxy. Yi, are you all right? Bailey moved closer and spoke with a worried tone. The two dukes, Winnie and Aylin, were also standing at the side. I'm fine. I just thought of something. Yi Zichen laughed heartily. He felt like it was better to not let others know about this. He was a little annoyed. Why didn't he think of this earlier? Now, he was heading to the ancestral dragon clan. It was still unknown when he would return. Bailey, enter the virtual network. With that, Yi Zichen constructed the virtual network in his consciousness. He couldn't do it, but he could get someone else to do it. Inshang. Approximately half a minute later, Yi Zichen received Gu Li's reply. Emperor Star, have you reached the ancestral dragon clan yet? Not yet, replied Yi Zichen. Are Su Yin and the others doing well? Has the Milky Way been stable lately? They're fine, but Inshang hesitated for a moment, then added, ever since you left the Milky Way galaxy, we haven't seen Su Yin or Xia Kiki. They haven't shown themselves at all. When he saw Inshang's message, Yi Zichen subconsciously froze. He hadn't seen Su Yin or Xia Kiki since he left. Yi Zichen counted the days. It had been almost a year since he'd left. For people at their level, a year's time was like a white steed passing through a crevice. It wasn't particularly noteworthy. It was normal for experts to not show their faces for decades, or even centuries. The problem was, the two of them never went into seclusion. Furthermore, given Xia Ki's current state, how could she go into seclusion just like that? Su Yin had to constantly take care of her. Where could the two of them go? Have you searched the entire Milky Way galaxy? Yi Zichen furrowed his brows. He wanted to chat with Yin Shang for a bit, then tell him about Gu Zichen. He never would have guessed something like this would happen. We've already searched. None. Yin Shang frowned. But we've also asked Supremacy Spirit Phoenix and Supremacy Chicano. All the experts in the Milky Way galaxy said they didn't find any signs of an intruder. They shouldn't have been kidnapped. Then they're hiding themselves? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Supremacy Spirit Phoenix says that's more likely. Yin Shang replied. I understand. If Supremacy Spirit Phoenix confirmed it, then there was no need to worry. Let me know when you hear from them. Understood. Also, I have something else to tell you. After sending the message, Yi Zichen narrowed his eyes. This time, he had to be absolutely vague. The virtual network belonged to the Virtual World Corporation. There were definitely people from the Sanyue galaxy within the corporation, and Yi Zichen was certain that they'd been keeping an eye on him. That was why he had to be vague. It was impossible to understand what he meant. You know that heaven has chosen 2 emperors, right? I know, replied Yin Shang. Yin Shang replied. Otherwise, why would I call you Emperor Star? Find me someone. Ooh, the one we met before. Yi Zichen's mind raced over how to make this sound more natural to him. The person who once pretended to be me. The one in the white robes. Capture him and ask him where he came from and how he got here. Of course, ask him about his life as well. Don't let him think we're too heartless. In an instant, Yin Shang, who was in the Milky Way, understood. White robes. Impersonation. Gu Zichen. The Emperor's Star didn't explain clearly because they were in the virtual network and could be monitored. Where did he come from? How did he come from? The method to shatter the plane. Asking about recent events meant. Got it, Emperor Star. I'll definitely get to the bottom of everything. Don't worry. I understand. Chapter 2658. Looking at the news from Yin Shang. Yi Zichen was certain that he already knew what he wanted to express. As for how he could confirm this tacit understanding. As the minister of the left, Yin Shang had followed Yi Zichen for the longest time, so he knew many things. Compared to Go Yuzhan's carefree personality, Yin Shang was more meticulous. All right, let's try our best to find it. It's best if we can find it, but it's okay if we can't. Also, if there's news about Su Yin and Xia Kiki, let me know. After sending the message and receiving Yin Shang's reply, Yi Zichen logged out of the virtual network. He was not sure if the people watching him in the virtual network would notice what he was trying to say. In any case, he thought that he was already quite homely, although that kind of obscurity can make people suspicious. However, this kind of conversation was more like an ordinary explanation, and it was something that both sides knew, so the possibility of it being noticed was relatively low. Yi, what did you just say? As an AI, Bailey naturally knew all of Yi Zichen's messages. I just want to explain some things. Then why are you being so vague? Are you suspecting? Bailey frowned. That someone from the Virtual World Corporation is watching you? Yes. Your concern is not wrong. Bailey's eyes revealed a smile. Looks like our universe's rookies are gradually becoming more meticulous. Humans have to grow. Yi Zichen looked up at the sky and sighed. How much longer until we reach planet Yin? Soon. Bailey laughed. It will take about a week before we can return to the primordial universe and leave the dark universe. After that, we will reach the radiation range of planet Yin in a few days. All right. At this moment, the Virtual World Corporation's Network Surveillance Department. The nature of the job here was to monitor the exchange of information in the virtual network. Under the condition of protecting the privacy of the users, the Virtual World Group would also collect intelligence from here. The Network Surveillance Department was also part of the Virtual World Group's Intelligence Department. At this time, in the supervisor's office, an expert of the human race was currently copying a certain piece of information. This kind of thing was very common in the Virtual World Corporation. Gather information. All the information had to be copied down and submitted to the headquarters. A few minutes later, the message copy ended. The human expert removed the energy chip, and when he left the office, several staff members in the corridor greeted him. Supervisor in. Supervisor in. Hello, Supervisor. From the beginning to the end, the experts of the human clan had been smiling and nodding to them. Manager is so kind. That's right. He's obviously a king-ranked martial artist, but he doesn't even put on any airs in front of us warrior-ranked martial artists. Manager is famous for being a good person. I want to be like Supervisor and in the future. As the employees discussed among themselves, Supervisor left the Ministry of Supervision and headed straight for the spaceship parking area. Hello, Director, we've been waiting for you for a long time. The moment he arrived at the docking area, several experts walked out with smiles on their faces. We are from a Virtual World Corporation's supervisory department, similar to your Network Information Supervisory Department. However, you are in charge of network information, while we are in charge of managers like you. Almost as soon as he said that, Manager N's gaze changed, but she still maintained her smile. May I know what business you have with me? If you don't want people to know, don't do it. The person from the Virtual World Corporation's supervisory department laughed and said, We all know what you've done in the past 10 years. Please come with us to the headquarters to be investigated. What did I do wrong? Please leave with us. You are also a king-ranked martial artist. Isn't it good to be a little more presentable? Manager looked at the people in front of her and said, I need to see your identification. That's fine. The leader of the group, who looked like a young man, walked forward and took out an energy crystal. His position in the Virtual World Corporation was imprinted on it. This is... Before the young man finished speaking, Manager punched out. The young man grabbed his neck and dodged the punch. He then saw Manager fly up into the void. Sigh, isn't it good to be presentable? The young man sighed silently as he nodded to the people behind him. Execute the arrest plan. In the void, Manager was even faster than a rocket. During this time, he was still looking down at the situation below. However, the moment he turned his head, he saw a person appear in front of him and kick him in the face. The leg was like a long whip, and Changsheng used both his arms to block the kick. Then, the huge impact caused him to fall heavily to the ground. The intense sound caused the people from the Internet Supervision Department to stand in front of the windows. Please continue with your work. We are from the Headquarters Inspection Bureau. We are now carrying out an arrest mission. Please do not panic. Once we capture the target, we will leave immediately. The young man smiled as he spoke to the people from the Internet Supervision Department. The Headquarters Inspection Bureau. Aren't they here to capture the organization's spy? Who are they here to capture this time? Oh my God, look, it's Manager. Just as they were about to return to their posts, the few people who had just greeted Manager frowned and rushed to the windows. Then they saw Manager N's eyes were flashing red as she shuttled back and forth outside the building. She was viciously knocked to the ground. How is this possible? How can Manager be a spy? There must be a mistake. Just as they were exclaiming in shock, the king-ranked Manager was captured. The young man smiled at the people standing in front of the windows and spoke. I apologize once again for the trouble I have caused everyone. Please be loyal to the Virtual World Corporation. If anyone betrays the Virtual World Corporation, our bureau will not let them off. Before the young man could finish his sentence, Team leader, be careful. The target wants to self-destruct. A member of the bureau shouted. The young man turned and saw that Manager N's body was already swelling up violently. The young man sighed deeply and took a few steps forward to stand in front of him. He placed his palm on Manager N's shoulder. Manager N's swollen body rapidly shrank. Manager N's eyes widened, filled with disbelief. In front of me, it's impossible for you to die. Follow me. Tell me, why did you have to make such a fuss? Didn't I say long ago? Isn't it good to be more dignified? Look at those people in front of the windows. How sad are they? Manager N looked up and saw the young man who had been praising him and treating him as a goal. From the young man's eyes, he saw disbelief. He lowered his head silently. The young man also spoke to the people around him. Take him away. Back to the headquarters. Chapter 2659. Yi Zichen, who was in space, didn't know that the Virtual Moment Corporation's Information Control Department had been arrested. Yi, we've arrived at Planet Een. Bailey's voice sounded out in Yi Zichen's mind, causing him to wake up from his cultivation. When he woke up, Winnie and Alan were already standing in the cabin. The two of them couldn't cultivate. They had to ensure Yi Zichen's safety, so they had to remain conscious even when Yi Zichen was cultivating. So, to them, This interstellar journey was very boring. Lord, Winnie greeted Yi Zichen when she saw him wake up. Aelin nodded towards him. Since he wasn't good with words, even the most basic greeting was extremely difficult for him. They walked to the edge of the cabin. This is Planet Een. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Yes. Bailey nodded. Then let's notify Meng Luo and the others now. We need to wait a bit. Why? We still need half an hour to reach Planet Een. Isn't it too early to notify them? Bailey asked. It is a bit. Wait a bit. Yi Zichen subconsciously nodded, then tilted his head towards Bailey. What the hell did you just say? Half an hour? From his current position, he could already see quite a bit of Planet Een. Bailey actually told him that it was half an hour. At their current speed, half an hour was a distance of countless light years. Yes, Bailey nodded. Just how big is Planet Een? In the beginning, Planet Een wasn't much different from other life planets, Bailey replied. However, after the influx of countless powerhouses and the construction of clans, Planet Een was modified and expanded over 100 times. Right now, Planet Een has a diameter of about 3,700 light years. Holy sh*t. 3,700 light years. Yi Zichen glared at Bailey. Winnie also spoke up. My teacher once said that as well. Planet Een is the most successfully modified life planet. Even the Virtual World Corporation's headquarters can't compare to it. Planet Een has a total of 60-something experts above the sovereign level. Monarchs, dukes, there are countless of them. There are countless clans of various sizes on this life planet. Among them, there are more than 10 first-rate clans in the universe. This was too exaggerated. More than 60 venerables lived in the same life star. What did that mean? This was equivalent to having close to 10 universe country knights and overlords here. In terms of the strength of life stars, Planet Een would definitely be ranked first. Who would dare to invade this place? What about the sunlight here? Yi Zichen frowned. Such a large area. An artificial star. Bell replied. All right, this time, Yi Zichen's reply was rather calm. He could accept a life star that was 3,700 light years away. What was so surprising about an artificial star? Actually, this isn't the largest life star of the human clan. Isn't that the case? The largest life star of the human clan is the leader of the virtual world group, the Nine-Tailed Fox clan. It has a diameter of 27,000 light years. Moreover, this life star hasn't been modified. It's still in its original state. Bailey answered. At that time, the Nine-Tailed Fox clan and the Titan clan used to compete for this life star. Eventually, Leader Wenli suppressed the 13 Vajra of the Titan clan and took the life star. Sister Wenli is still fierce. Yi Zichen smiled. Leader Wenli is indeed very strong. And the most surprising thing is that she actually majored in spiritual power, but her martial prowess is also at the level of a supreme being. Winnie's eyes were filled with admiration. She's the role model for all women in the universe. Yi Zichen glanced at Su Luer and saw that she'd woken up at some point. Her eyes were filled with determination. Perhaps she wanted to become someone like Wenli. Big Sister Luer, Big Sister Wenli is also a Nine-Tailed Fox. You two are of the same bloodline. Yi Zichen smiled. Miss Luer is also a Nine-Tailed Fox? Winnie exclaimed. Su Luer nodded silently. Then how many tails do you have now, Miss Luer? Winnie asked. Although she didn't know what Winnie meant, Su Luer still answered. Nine-tailed. Nine-tailed, Winnie suddenly shouted. Miss Luer, you're a Nine-Tailed Fox? Yes. Su Luer nodded. In truth, she was rather confused as to why Winnie was so surprised. If she remembered correctly, Yi Zichen had told her that Winnie was a Duke-level expert. In the universe, Duke-level experts were already extremely powerful. Logically speaking, an expert of that level should have seen and experienced a great deal. There was no way she would be so shocked by a mere Nine-Tailed Fox. What was so strange about that? In her clan, there were at least 200, if not 500, who could grow 9 tails. Miss Luer, are you sure you're a Nine-Tailed Fox? Winnie asked in a serious tone. I don't know if I'm a Nine-Tailed Fox you speak of, but I'm indeed a Nine-Tailed Fox. Su Luer answered truthfully. Could you please open it for me to see? Suluer subconsciously glanced at Yizichin. When she saw him nod, she shrugged. 9 snow-white tails appeared behind her. It really is. Winnie cleared her throat. You really are a 9-tailed fox. Miss Lure, you can take it back now. Yizichin looked at Winnie's shocked expression. Suluer's cold eyes revealed a hint of confusion. Even Yizichin furrowed his brows. Winnie, what's wrong? Big Sister Lure has always had 9 tails. She's already had 9 since I first met her. You know that the leader of the Wunley clan is a 9-tailed fox, right? Asked Winnie. We do. Everyone in the universe knew about the 9-tailed fox clan. Then do you know that aside from the leader of the 9-tailed fox clan, the highest they have is only 8 tails? The highest is 8 tails. Yizichin couldn't keep his cool. Was it that hard to open the tail? Su Luer, Su Zhu, Su Yin. All of them had 9 tails. What's more, there were countless 9-tailed foxes as well. And now Winnie was saying that the strongest 9-tailed fox clan, led by the leader of the Wunley clan, had 8 tails? I asked just now, as a little joke, said Yizichin. To give Miss Lure a goal to work towards, said Wunli with a wry smile. Now I feel like you're joking. The leader of the Wunley clan made an announcement 3,000 years ago. What announcement? The next leader of the Virtual World Corporation will be succeeded by the first fox to reach 9 tails. Chapter 2660. Inheritance. The Virtual World Corporation. Yizichin couldn't keep his cool anymore. She was the publicly acknowledged leader of the 8 Titans. She had the right to inherit after breaking through to 9 tails. Are you telling the truth? Did Big Sister Wunli really say that? Why would I lie? Winnie's expression was also filled with shock. It wasn't just Yizichin who lost his cool. She lost her cool as well. Who knew how many members of the 9-tailed fox clan wanted to sprout 9 tails with all their might? There was one in the cabin. Didn't that mean that this was someone who could inherit the Virtual World Corporation? Lu Urgia, do you need a hanger on your thighs? Yizichin smiled at Suluer. Milky Way Lord, do you need a hanger on your thighs? Suluer also joined in on the joke. Winnie stood silently to the side. What's going on? Why do I feel that these 2 people don't seem to care? Hey. Can you guys be more serious? The Virtual World Corporation. Milky Way Lord, Miss Lu? Did you hear what I said just now? Winnie asked seriously. I heard it. Yizichin shrugged, then looked into Winnie's eyes. 9 tails have the right to inherit the Virtual World Corporation. Yeah, now that Miss Lu can sprout 9 tails, she's the next successor. Winnie said seriously. Lu Urgia, are you? I'm definitely not. Look, Lu Urgia said she's not. Yizichin shrugged. She can't inherit the Virtual World Corporation. Huh? Winnie was dumbfounded. She didn't understand what they were talking about at all. Didn't Big Sister Wunli say that the first fox to sprout 9 tails can inherit the Virtual World Corporation? Asked Yizichin. Yeah, Lu Urgia isn't her clansman. That's not important. Leader Wunli didn't say it had to be her clansman. That's still not okay. Yizichin shook his head. Why? Wunli was unable to understand Yizichin and Su Lunar's thoughts at all. The right to inherit the Virtual World Corporation. No. Big Sis Lure isn't the first one to start a 9-tailed, right? Yizichin shrugged. She is. Winnie's face and eyes were filled with seriousness. There are no 9 tails in the universe yet. If there were 9 tails, do you think that person wouldn't look for leader, Wunli? Wunli, calm down. Yizichin held Winnie's shoulder. He could understand Winnie's agitation. He was also excited. Who wouldn't be excited to inherit the Virtual World Corporation? Even those overlords and supremacies would probably laugh themselves to death if Wunli handed over the Virtual World Corporation to them. This was the Virtual World Corporation, one of the strongest powers in the universe. You've lived in the Milky Way for 10 years, right? Yizichin calmed Winnie down and said softly, Yes. Haven't you been to Earth, the immortal planet, and the divine planet? No. Winnie was stunned. Why would she go there? After arriving in the Milky Way, she was just like Chicano, dealing with the upheaval Alliance's affairs in Universe 2. Never mind Earth. She'd barely even left the Milky Way. If Chicano hadn't asked her to follow Yizichin to the ancestral dragon clan, staying online for 100 years wouldn't have been a big deal. When we get back, Let's go take a look. Yi Zichen patted her on the shoulder. What wrong with that? What I'm saying is, you're one of us, and Aelin is someone big sister Ling Feng trusts, so I won't hide it from you. Yi Zichen sighed, then smiled. Are there no fewer than 200 foxes in the Milky Way who can sprout 9 tails? As he spoke, he glanced at Su Lu. She was the head of the 9-tailed fox clan. She should know the situation there better. More or less. Su Lu nodded. 2 or 300. WH. What? Winnie was astonished. I don't know why the big shots of the universe can't sprout 9 tails, but in the Milky Way, you don't need to be at the domain level to sprout 9 tails. Yi Zichen shrugged. You can ask Big Sister Luer about that. That's right. Su Luer nodded. Sprouting 9 tails really is a very common occurrence, continued Yi Zichen. Also, Big Sister Luer isn't the first to sprout 9 tails, so she's not a successor. That's right. Su Luer nodded. Winnie was dumbfounded. She felt like she was listening to some sort of fantasy story. Hundreds of 9-tailed foxes in the Milky Way galaxy, and they didn't even need to be at the domain level to sprout 9 tails. I don't know how the 9-tailed fox clan of the Wanli clan sprout tails, but our clan's bloodline is inherited. Some are born with 8 tails. My 2 little sisters and I were born with 9 tails, replied Su Luer. As long as they have the bloodline of the 9-tailed fox clan, even the weakest one has 6 tails. Anyone below 6 tails is considered a commoner of the fox clan. Phew! Winnie let out a deep sigh. She'd never heard of it before. If she remembered correctly, the Wanli clan of the Wanli clan all started cultivating from 1 tail, then gave birth to multiple tails. Miss Lu, may I ask your strength? Does it increase with every tail you sprout? That's right, nodded Su Lu. My strength increases exponentially with every tail I sprout. Isn't that a characteristic of the 9-tailed fox clan? If that's the case, then that's right. Wanli furrowed her brows. She should be thinking that Su Lu's clan might be different from the 9-tailed fox clan of the Wanli clan. Perhaps tails didn't affect strength. But now she said her strength would increase exponentially with more tails. This was perfectly in line with the 9-tailed fox clan of the Wanli clan. Wanli was able to secure her position as the supreme expert. She protected the Fox clan and the Virtual World Corporation. It was all because of her tails. Her strength increased exponentially after she sprouted her tails. I really don't know what to say. Winnie frowned, unsure of what to say. Our Milky Way galaxy is far more complicated than you can imagine. Yi Zichen smiled. The Milky Way galaxy. There were many clans that should have been wiped out in the universe. For example, undying phoenixes. Undying phoenixes that could undergo nirvana were practically non-existent in the human universe, but there were in the Milky Way galaxy. 5-clawed golden dragons. Xiaokiki was one of them. Qilins, Xuanwu tortoises. All of the clans that should have been wiped out in the human universe still existed in the Milky Way galaxy. Most importantly, there were gods in the Milky Way galaxy. It was just that Yi Zichen had already sealed off all information regarding the gods. He'd heard that the humans held great enmity towards the gods. If they found out that the Milky Way galaxy had gods, it would be a calamity for the entire Milky Way galaxy. At that moment, Bailey also spoke up. Yi Zi, we've arrived at Planet Een. We've arrived? Yi Zichen looked up at the enormous planet, which he could no longer see the end of. His eyes flashed with a smile. All right, let's not talk about that. Let's get down to business. Chapter 2661. Planet Een, one of the core life planets of the human race. It was home to countless peak-level seniors and numerous family clans. The existence of countless experts ensured the planet's absolute safety. No one dared to provoke it. It was home to dozens of sovereigns and overlords. It was also because of the absolute safety of this life star that more and more families wanted to join this place. They wanted to turn this place into the foundation of their family. Because of this, Planet Een developed into the virtuous cycle that it was today. Every inch of land was worth its weight in gold. To join, one had to undergo countless inspections and spend vast sums of money. If anyone wanted to buy a small family's territory, don't even think about buying land. It was already full. There might be a few more spots in the void, but they'd need millions of primordial chaos. The planet's wealth. All of it would be invested in the planet's construction. After undergoing countless modifications, it was now the second largest life planet in the world. A single life planet was equivalent to an entire galaxy. Hello. No passage ahead. As soon as Ezichin's interstellar battleship reached the outskirts of planet Een, several spaceships appeared around them and blocked their path. Before long, several experts stepped out of the spaceships. The leader was roughly at the count level. Even the patrolling guards were count level. From this, it was clear how powerful planet Een was. You've already contacted Meng Luo and the others, right? Yes. Yi Zichen nodded. Winnie opened the hatch and left, then spoke with the count-level guard for a while. A few minutes later, Winnie returned, fuming. What is it? That guy. I almost couldn't help but attack him just now. Winnie clenched her fists. He's just a count-level guard. It's one thing if he doesn't greet a duke, but he's bossing me around. Bossing me around? Yi Zichen frowned. He's really pissing me off. What exactly is going on? We won't let them in. Winnie glared at him. He said they haven't been notified and can't enter. I told them to wait outside the planet's docking area, but he said it's full and won't accept outsiders. Listen to his bullshit. If they won't accept outsiders, then what's the docking area for? Are the residents supposed to park their spaceships outside and run around on foot? Winnie was beyond furious. Even if he was a marquis, she'd endure it. A little count. Second layer. He felt like he was the king of heaven. If it wasn't for the fact that I don't want to cause trouble for the Lord, I would have killed him today. Winnie's eyes were cold. All right, don't be angry. Yi Zichen patted her shoulders and smiled. Wait here, I'll go out and tell them. With that, Yi Zichen and Aelin walked out of the cabin. The Earl stood not too far away from the cabin. When a count-level expert saw Yi Zichen, he froze. Perhaps he hadn't realized that Yi Zichen was the one in the cabin. Yet he had two Duke guards. Hello. Yi Zichen walked in front of the count guard. Just now, my subordinate replied to me. Can you tell me the reason for not letting them go? Do you think anyone can enter Planet Een? I'm here to look for Monroe, the Flame Rat, and the others. I wonder if you know them. There are many people looking for Miss Meng Luo and young Master Flame Rat. Every day, tens of thousands of people come to them for help. Are we going to let them all in? Said the count-level expert disdainfully. He had to admit, for Yi Zichen to have two dukes and ride an interstellar warship, his background wasn't bad. But in front of Miss Meng Luo and young Master Flame Rat, he was nothing. I'm in a bit of a hurry. How about you go ask around and say Yi Zichen is here to visit? Yi Zichen said gently and elegantly. I'm doing this for your own good. Have you not considered that you might offend some people by doing this? Huh, fine. The Count sneered, then cracked his neck. I'll go ask right now. However, neither the Count nor his subordinates left. It didn't seem like they were going to ask around in the virtual network. Why not? How am I supposed to go like this? The Count rubbed his fingers, then scratched his neck, then looked up into the sky. I can't really move like this. Who knows if your dukes will forcefully break through? Yi Zichen suddenly laughed. This action cost me money. Judging from his practiced speech and movements, he'd probably done this sort of thing many times and had succeeded quite a few times. How interesting. A mere patrol guard on the outskirts of a tiny life planet had the guts to ask for money from someone with a Duke-level guard, and even order a Duke-level expert around. It seemed that Planet Een really was quite powerful. In truth, Yi Zichen could have contacted Meng Luo and the others and had them personally come out to pick him up, but he didn't want to. He wanted to see what this guard was up to. He also wanted to fight for Winnie's honor. How much? How much? The Count feigned confusion. Sincerity is important when doing things. I'll give it to you. Do you dare take it? The guard's expression was disdainful. It was obvious that he didn't take this sort of threat seriously at all. 3 million. Yi Zichen held up 3 fingers. The guard continued to stand still. Yi Zichen also smiled, then took out a crystal card from his pocket. 3 million primal chaos. In an instant, the Count rank guard froze on the spot, his eyes fixed on the crystal card. What? Are you scared? How much did you think I meant by 3 million? Star dollars, galaxy dollars, or universe dollars? And here I thought a slave like you would have a big appetite. You're scared by 3 million primal chaos? Here's another crystal card. There's a total of 10 million primal chaos on these two cards. Do you dare take it? Yi Zichen held the two crystal cards between his fingers. He looked at the guard in front of him with a smile. Come on, don't just stand there. Come and take it. Yi Zichen reached out. Don't you want money? 10 million primal chaos. Not even a supreme might be able to take it out. I'll give it to you now. Do you dare take it? I'm asking you a question. The sudden change in the topic caused the Count class guard to tremble in fear. Come on, come and take it. The guard was truly frightened. He'd seen hundreds of thousands of universe dollars, but he'd never seen anyone take out 10 million primal chaos. Let her take it. You didn't dare. Aren't you just a piece of trash? Yi Zichen raised his hand and slapped him. I gave you a chance, but you didn't even try. You love money so much. 10 million primal chaos is right in front of you, but you don't even dare fart? Trash. Hurry up and report this to me. I'll be waiting for you. Chapter 2662. 10 million primal chaos. Yi Zichen looked coldly at the Count. His tone was naturally not polite. Yi Zichen looked coldly at the Count in front of him. His tone was naturally not very polite. He'd never seen her so angry or angry. He had never seen her so angry and angered to such an extent. It was easy to imagine what kind of nasty things this little guard had said. How amusing. Naturally, Yi Zichen didn't think that Counts were insignificant. Having cultivated to the Count level, Mosho was no ordinary person. Who knew how many people could spend their entire lives without ever touching the threshold of the Count? If this were the military, a Count could have over a dozen generals under his command. Hundreds of generals. The number of warriors and universe-level warriors were uncountable. Not too many. He could also serve as a minor leader. But now, just because he was Planet Yin's guard, he didn't even care about dukes. Instead, he spoke in an arrogant tone of voice and said he wanted to benefit himself. Fine. Yi Zichen would benefit him. Didn't he like money? He couldn't say he had too much money in his bank account. 10 million primal chaos was right in front of Count. Unfortunately, he didn't dare take it. Some things couldn't be blamed on the people of Earth. This sort of thing happened everywhere in the universe, and it was even worse. Back on Earth, at the very least, as a guard, he'd always acted courteously when he knew some people were relatively powerful and not someone a mere guard like him could mess with. Now look at the guards on Planet Een. Count level. A few commander-level experts. They dared stop Yi Zichen, who had a Duke-level guard, and demand a reward. Yi Zichen didn't know if this sort of situation existed in the Milky Way galaxy. It seemed he needed to warn Yin Shang. This sort of thing absolutely couldn't happen in the Milky Way galaxy. Otherwise, when would these brainless people provoke some existences that they shouldn't provoke and bring an undeserved disaster to the Milky Way? What are you just standing there for? You're not going to report it. Are you going to take the money? Yi Zichen's gaze darkened as he looked at the Count-level guard, who still hadn't moved. Who do you think you're trying to scare? Just because you said there's 10 million primal chaos here, it's 10 million? Do you know how big that is? When he heard the Count's words, Yi Zichen really did laugh. Even at a time like this, he still dared to think about money. Why didn't he think about who would be able to take out 10 million chaos? Or perhaps, Yin Shang had given him enough confidence. This allowed him to maintain a state of indifference towards anyone. Towards Planet Een, Yi Zichen was truly curious. He was very curious about what this place was like. How could these fellows who were considered servants be so arrogant and conceited? I'll give you the crystal card now. You can check the information in the virtual network. Yi Zichen placed the crystal card in his hand, then crossed his arms. I want to see him. How far could he persist? Or rather, he really dared to take all 10 million chaos for himself. The Count who received the crystal card gulped. He frowned and looked at the crystal card. Then he really entered the virtual network to check. The result of the inspection, these two cards did not contain 10 million primordial chaos, but more than 16 million primordial chaos. Actually, Yi Zichen didn't know the exact number either. The money in the card is for the construction of the galaxy. Inshang had a secondary card. Even if the main card was with Yi Zichen, he could use the secondary card to transfer internal funds. Are you sure? You're really giving it to me? The Count's breathing quickened when he saw the numbers. I'll give it to you. Yi Zichen nodded silently, but inwardly he found it funny. You dare take it? Why wouldn't I dare? The Count arched his brows. All right, don't regret it. You have to hold on to this card. I'll take it. You really dare take it? Yi Zichen slapped the guard across the face and took the card back into his hands. F***CK. This guard was crazy, wasn't he? 10 million primordial chaos wasn't something he could run into. Was this guy brainless? Or had he been blinded by 10 million primordial chaos? He didn't even need to think about it. You freaking dare hit me? The guard flew into a rage. Puny little general, you dare hit a Count? So what if I hit you? Yi Zichen narrowed his eyes and nodded at Aelin. Instantly, a surging pressure bore down on the Count. Yi Zichen slapped him a dozen times. Aren't you happy? A general can't hit a Count, but does that mean a Count has the right to spout nonsense in front of the Red Duke? A red palm print appeared on the guard's face. The guards lowered their heads in silence. You people of Planet Een really are putting on airs. You're taking 10 million primordial chaos for a mere guard? Aren't you afraid your stomach will explode? Yi Zichen slapped him again, then looked up at the Count. I'm hitting you right now. Come and try fighting back. Do you think I don't dare? Shouted the Count. Then come at me. Yi Zichen stood right in front of him. The Count-level expert gnashed his teeth. He couldn't move. If he could, Yi Zichen wouldn't have hit him like this. Good, you've got guts. The Count glared at Yi Zichen. Hit me? With the Red Duke here, I really can't do anything to you, but don't even think about entering Planet Een. Why would I want to? Yi Zichen tilted his head. If I wanted to, do you think a bunch of stinky fish and shrimps like you could stop me? Yi Zichen slapped him again. Yi Zichen put all his strength into each slap. Given the strength of his slaps, even if he couldn't destroy an entire planet, he could at least shatter an island. However, a Count-level expert really wasn't strong enough to take hits. He'd been slapped so many times. Only a trickle of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth, and his skin was thick. I'll stay here and hit you. Isn't that better? Yi Zichen grinned. If you've got the guts, keep going. Roared the Count. Keep going. Who are you threatening? Do you think I won't hit you just because you yelled at me? He slapped him again. Yi Zichen tilted his head. Hit you? Not only would I hit you, I'd kill you. Do you believe me? Kill you? Do you know where we are? Roared the Count. Fine. If you're so good, then kill me right now. If you don't. Before he could finish his sentence, Aelin's sword cut off his head. The Earth-level divine body froze in place. Perhaps he was shocked that Yi Zichen really dared to kill him here and now. Before long, his divine body tried to flee. Aelin grabbed him. You can't kill me. Do you know who I am? Shoo. Yi Zichen extended a finger. I'm just fulfilling your wish. Although your wish is strange, I love helping others. I won't be stingy with my kindness. With that, Yi Zichen turned around. Just kill me. Chapter 2663. You can't. You can't kill me, No. Aelin crushed his divine body in her hands. The destruction of his divine body represented his true death. The surrounding guards fell silent out of fear. When they looked at Yi Zichen, their gazes were filled with dread. Huh, you asked for it. From start to finish, Yi Zichen didn't even look him in the eye. Even so, the guard thought he had the absolute advantage. Where did his self-confidence come from? Was it because of the life planet behind him? Or his family? None of that mattered to Yi Zichen. Winnie, how are you feeling? Do you feel better? Yi Zichen grinned and waved at Winnie. Let his people suffer. Then go die. Winnie watched from within the ship's hold. When she saw Aelin crush the Count's divine body, she felt it was pretty good. However, she was a bit worried. This was Planet Een, after all. If he killed one of their people, wouldn't the major powers of Planet Een be unhappy? Furthermore, given how domineering that guard was, it was entirely possible that he had the resources to back it up. My lord, there won't be any problems, will there? Winnie walked out of the ship's hold. Yi Zichen shrugged, but didn't seem to care in the slightest. What problems could there possibly be? So what if I killed him? If they're unhappy, they can come looking for us for revenge. It's just a small matter. Don't worry about it. A small matter? Suddenly, dozens of interstellar battleships appeared outside Planet Een, surrounded by numerous experts. The middle-aged man at the front of the group looked murderous. What did you just say? You kill my son? Is that a small matter? You sure got here quickly. Yizichin laughed and shrugged. How did you know your son was dead? Did he notify you before he died? How did you get here so quickly? I'm asking you a question. The middle-aged man was furious. I'm asking you a question too. Yizichin narrowed his eyes. Can't you tell? You're seeking death, roared the middle-aged man. Aelin and Winnie instantly blocked Yizichin's path. Duke, no wonder you are so courageous. You killed my son and still dare to say that it is a small matter. Kid, which family are you from? You don't want to kill me. Yizichin frowned. Your son was killed. Why are you asking about the family? Just kill the murderer when you see him. What's the point of asking so much? Aren't you afraid that you'll be afraid of the result? To be honest, Yizichin was truly confused by this behavior. His son was killed. I'm here for revenge. That made sense. But as soon as he arrived and saw the two dukes, he suddenly gave up. Instead, he asked Yizichin what family he was from. The pain of losing a son. How dare you ask people what family they are? There must be something wrong with his brain. If Yer was killed, he would fight even if he had to use the entire Milky Way's power or the Tsanua galaxy. If he didn't want the galaxy involved, then he would be considered as himself. He had to seek justice. Shouldn't this be the most normal way of thinking? The people in the universe were indeed cold. Even the death of one's loved ones could be weighed. Kid, are you trying to provoke me? The middle-aged man's gaze darkened. Yizichin sighed. No, I'm not trying to provoke you. Then what you said just now, it's just pure curiosity. Yizichin shrugged. I admit, I killed your son, but he was the one who asked for it. I was just helping him escape. Is that so? The middle-aged man sneered. A count-level being disrespectful to a duke-level being, isn't it only right to kill him? Asked Yizichin. Then you're facing a king. So what? Is this the attitude a general should have? Then do you know that I'm a Milky Way lord? As soon as Yizichin said that, the experts behind the middle-aged man frowned. A Milky Way lord? Do you know what your son just did? Yizichin sighed. You don't know anything. All you know is that your son died and you want to cause trouble. Then come. I'll stand here. Come and kill me. Do you think I don't dare? The middle-aged king's gaze darkened. Monstrous anger erupted from his body. Try and touch him. At that moment, a cold voice sounded out from the sky. Meng Luo's eyes were cold. Behind her, there were 6 experts at the monarch level and above. Meng Luo. Great deity. Meng Luo smiled and ran in front of him. I was wondering why you didn't go in. I wanted to come out and get you. And Miss Meng Luo. The king lowered his head. Hey, you got guts. You want to kill my friend? Meng Luo's little face was filled with gloom. Come on, repeat what you just said to me. Miss Meng Luo, he killed my son. The king shouted. Huh? Meng Luo was stunned, then tilted her head towards Yizichin. He killed him. Great deity. Why did you kill his son? Meng Luo blinked. That's a long story. With that, Yizichin explained what had just happened to Meng Luo. As she listened, Meng Luo's gaze grew increasingly solemn. The king's expression darkened as well. Is that so? You really have guts. You even dared to accept 10 million primal chaos. I was wondering why my friends said Planet Yin's atmosphere wasn't particularly good. I asked them, but none of them said why. So that's how it is. You receive a notice of release, but you still had to accept money. Meng Luo pursed her lips. Your son? What do you want to say? Miss Meng Luo, I'm asking for your opinion. Don't say anything else. Miss Meng Luo, no matter what, he killed my son. Well done. Meng Luo didn't seem to care at all. So what if he's dead? You have so many children. One more won't make a difference. If he's dead, so be it. The spirit rabbit lineage is willing to compensate your son. 300,000 primal chaos. Is that enough? Miss Meng Luo, I'm asking you, is that enough? Meng Luo narrowed her eyes. Yes. The king lowered his head. Only then did Meng Luo smile in satisfaction. Then what about your son who intentionally accepted money from my friend? Miss Meng Luo, I'll give you 12 hours to deliver the money to the Spirit Rabbit clan. Otherwise, your clan will leave planet Een tomorrow. Chapter 2664. 10 million primal chaos as compensation. To any family, that was an enormous sum. Miss Meng Luo. HM. This time, Meng Luo didn't interrupt him. Instead, she glanced up at the middle-aged man, her ruby eyes flashing with cold light. The other country lords behind Meng Luo. All of them looked at the middle-aged man, their expressions identical to Meng Luo's. The heavy atmosphere and pressure made the country lord feel like he couldn't breathe. He found it hard to breathe. Miss Meng Luo. After a while, he sighed. 10 million primal chaos is truly too much. How could our family possibly afford that much? You know a lot, too. Meng Luo tilted her head and laughed. She pursed her lips in thought for a moment, then looked down at the middle-aged man, whose head was practically touching his knees. Then why did your son dare accept it? Greenwood, there are some things I don't want to say clearly. Meng Luo pursed her lips, then smiled at the middle-aged man. There are some things we both know. Ever since you took control of the army, you've arranged for quite a few of your family members to join, haven't you? The middle-aged man instantly broke out in a cold sweat. Meng Luo knew. Didn't that mean the Spirit Rabbit lineage knew? And this son of yours, he even dared to ask for 10 million primal chaos. You must have given him his guts, said Meng Luo softly. Meng Luo spoke in a low voice. With her appearance as a little lowly, it was a bit strange for her to speak in such a deep tone. However, this strangeness only made her even colder. 10 million. Give it to me within 6 hours. If you don't want to, that's fine. My Spirit Rabbit lineage will let you leave the same way you came to Planet Een. You know I don't like to lie. Miss Meng Luo, didn't you just say 12 hours? Said Greenwood. Is that so? I don't remember saying that. With that, Meng Luo's eyes lit up. She hugged Yi Zichen's arm. Let's go, great deity. They're all waiting for you. They walked towards the interstellar battleship with smiles on their faces. Aylin and the rulers Meng Luo had brought with her followed them, while Winnie and Su Luer returned to the battleship and followed them. Remember, 6 hours. Before leaving, Meng Luo narrowed her eyes as she looked at Greenwood. Don't forget, even though Meng Luo and Yi Zichen's battleship had already left and entered Planet Een, his head was still lowered, and his eyes were filled with terror. Just a little bit more, and he would have died. When Meng Luo frowned, he clearly felt the killing intent of the guards behind her. That was also the reason why he didn't continue speaking. He was afraid that even if he said one more word, he might bring disaster upon himself. After a long while, Greenwood let out a long breath and looked at the people behind him, a grim look in his eyes. Return to the clan. Planet Een. Spaceships and battleships were the most basic forms of transportation on a massive planet Een. Because in this place, the territory of a family could be as big as an ordinary life star. Although they were on the same life star, if he wanted to go to the other families, he would need to take a spaceship. Meng Luo. What's wrong, Almighty? Meng Luo's eyes were filled with innocence when she faced Yi Zichen. Her innocent smile caused Yi Zichen to fall into a daze. Was that really Meng Luo? Were they the same person? Meng Luo, that 10 million primal chaos is in my hands. I didn't give it to that kid. Is that so? All right. Then, do you still need him to give you the money? Give it to him. Meng Luo shrugged. Why wouldn't I? I already said it. So how could I change my mind? Besides, isn't your Milky Way lacking in money? Isn't this perfect? That's true. Getting 10 million for free was naturally good. Won't he cause trouble for us? Ha! You really overestimate him. Meng Luo's gaze was filled with disdain. Even if you gave him 80 times the courage, he wouldn't dare. Don't worry, just take the money. I'll take care of everything else for you. Yi Zichen couldn't help but laugh when he saw Meng Luo's heroic appearance. You're a spirit rabbit. That's right. Meng Luo blinked, and 2 large, swaying ears popped out of her head. My original form is a rabbit. What do you think? Cute, right? That's right. Yi Zichen smiled and nodded, then arched his brows. Who was that just now? You're talking about Greenwood? Meng Luo shrugged. He's a human of the Qing family. He's the general of Planet Yin's 9th military region, so he does have a place in Planet Yin. He's a king? Yes, 7th stage king. 7th stage. That was already the level of a high-level king. That was already an outstanding existence amongst the kings. What's more, that king was still very young and might even break through to the sovereign level in the future. It seems like your family has a lot of status here. It's just so. Meng Luo shrugged with a smile. Meng Luo shrugged with a smile. Just a little. It's not really good. Being overly humble is being fake, Yi Zichen smiled. She was able to scare a 7th-stage king to the point that he didn't even dare to raise his head. He couldn't even breathe loudly. Meng Luo's family was definitely not just so. Furthermore, the guards behind her were all seniors that were no weaker than Greenwood. Hee, it's really just so. Meng Luo pouted. You little brat. Yi Zichen rubbed her head. The moment he put his hand down, he felt several auras pressing towards him. Back down. He's the older brother, I acknowledged. What's wrong with touching my head? I'll remind you guys to be more respectful when you see him in the future. Treat him like you're seeing me. Meng Luo glared, causing the kings to quickly back down. Yes, young lady. Only then did Meng Luo turn around with a smile. Continue. Forget it. If Yi Zichen didn't sense wrongly, the kings all seemed to want to kill him. He was only a millimeter away from death. Why not? You have to. Meng Luo grabbed Yi Zichen's hand and placed it on her head. Yi Zichen tilted his head and glanced at the kings. Despite Meng Luo's scolding, their gazes were still unfriendly. F***. So pressured. Yi Zichen quickly retracted his hand after touching her head a few times. Meng Luo also knew that the people behind her were pressuring Yi Zichen, so she glared at them. However, she didn't continue to make things difficult for Yi Zichen. Where are we going now? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. To Big Sister Bayu's house. Oh, I'm telling you, my spiritual rabbit clan is really very average. You'll know what a true big family is when you go to Big Sister Bayu's house. Meng Luo opened her eyes wide. It's so big that you can't even imagine it. Is that so? That much? Of course, my family is the smallest among the 4 of us on planet Yin. Meng Luo giggled, then pointed at the burning area below. Meng Luo said with a smile. Then, she pointed at the place where the fire was burning. Look, we're here. Chapter 2665. Boundless Fire Territory. The raging flames continued for tens of millions of miles without an end in sight. It was surrounded by mountains. Not a single bit of green could be seen. All that could be seen was the charred black of the flames and the scorching heat of the mountaintop fire that could be felt from hundreds of miles away. Unfortunately, such a blazing flame did not emit any smoke. Bai lives here? Yi Zichen frowned. No matter how he looked at it, he didn't think this place was suitable for humans to live in. There were erupting volcanoes everywhere. The eruption of lava flowed along the mountain peak to the ground, leaving behind rivers of molten lava on the ground. Even though he was sitting inside the warship, he still felt a little hot. And this was under the condition that he had the fire elemental sprite. If it was someone else, they might find it even more unbearable. This is not a residential area. This is Sister Bayu's family's secluded cultivation area. It was obvious that Yi Zichen didn't know much about this place, so Meng Luo took on the role of a little tour guide and explained things to him. Bayu's family was a fire-type family. Everyone in the clan was a fire controller. Later on, there might be clansmen who could comprehend and control other elements, but if they were to undergo an elemental awakening, it would definitely be the fire element. This was something that had been passed down through the generations of the Bai family for tens of millions of years. The fire element was a type of assault element. The Bai family's fire was even more extraordinary because the fire they controlled was divine fire. The human race had 19 types of universe divine flames. The Bai clan alone occupied 17. Of the other 2 types of divine flames, one was found in extremely cold places in the universe. Even supremacies would be instantly frozen if they entered. This divine flame was something that even the Bai clan's fire god patriarch, who was at the peak of the overlord level, had secretly entered to take a look at. There was another type of divine fire in the family of the flame rats. Apparently, it was a gift from Bayu's family. This was because the first family head of the flame rat clan was Bayu's great-grandfather's younger sister. Fuck. Then why don't you just say that the divine flames are at Bayu's house? He couldn't obtain one type of divine flame, but the other type of divine flame had been gifted to him by the Bai family. What was the difference between that and having all of the divine flames in the Bai family? How can that be? You have to be careful with your words. But why didn't you ask me why it's so cold around the divine flame that I can't get? Things will move in the opposite direction when they reach an extreme. Do you think I'm stupid? If Yizichin could even understand such a simple logic, then not only would he be playing with fire, then wouldn't his 9 years of compulsory education have all gone to waste? The land of extreme cold was known as the land of extreme cold. It could all be a problem with the divine fire. He was the one who made that place cold. You're pretty smart. Meng Luo giggled. I didn't know at first. It was Big Sister Bayu who explained it to me. Then you're still a little idiot. Yi Zichen rubbed Meng Luo's head, even though the guards at the back frowned. Thinking of how the young miss had already spoken, they didn't say anything more. Meng Luo, has Bayu also grasped divine fire? Yes. Meng Luo smiled and nodded. Sister Bayu is the youngest person in her family to have a divine flame, and it's the third-ranked divine flame. I heard that Big Sister Bayu didn't want it herself. When she was born, the God Flame personally found her and fused the spirit seed into her body. The divine flame has come to us personally. It seemed that Bayu really was a natural God Flame controller. She controlled the divine fire. Everything made sense now. When the fire elemental spirit told him it wanted to eat Bayu, it was referring to the divine flame's spirit seed inside her. Below us is the endless fire region. That's also where the divine flame lives. The Bai family cultivates here all year round, so it's possible for them to control a type of divine flame spirit seed. However, if you want a spirit seed, you need the divine flame's approval. All 17 of them are here. Yi Zichen arched his brows. That's right. Instantly, Lil, flame within Yi Zichen, trembled violently. Behave yourself. This is Bayu's divine flame, not your snack. Let's go eat elemental spirits from now on. Yi Zichen comforted the restless Lil flame, then arched his brows and asked, You put the divine flame here? Aren't you afraid of losing it? Or maybe an elemental spirit or something came and devoured it? That's impossible. Meng Luo burst into laughter. Every divine flame is surrounded by 2 venerables guarding it. Stealing a divine flame is simply a pipe dream. If it were an elemental spirit, that would be even better. Big Sister Bayu's family elders have always wanted to capture a fire elemental spirit for her. Within the cabin, Yi Zichen instantly froze. Great God, don't worry. Big Sister Bayu won't take your elemental spirit. Meng Luo laughed and shrugged. But Big Sister Bayu is pretty amazing. When we first met, she suspected you had a fire elemental spirit. Back then, none of us believed her. Is that so? Meng Luo's words reminded Yi Zichen of when they'd first met. Bayu really had probed him quite a bit. Hua Jinro had also clamored for him to come to Planet Een. If he wasn't mistaken, she was probably after his elemental spirit. But there was one thing Yi Zichen was particularly concerned about. Every type of divine fire was guarded by 2 supremacies. It wasn't as if the Bayu clan had 34 supremacies or above guarding the divine fires. What kind of celestial family was this? Didn't Planet Een only have 50 or 60 sovereigns? Didn't that mean the Bayu family had more than half of them? No wonder Meng Luo said that. This family was truly frighteningly large. Once we pass the endless fire region, we'll reach Big Sister Bayu's residence. All right. Yi Zichen thought they'd arrive soon. Yi Zichen, who stood in the cabin, painfully understood just how big Meng Luo was. It really was 2F* king big. They'd been on the warship for half an hour, yet they still hadn't left the endless fire region. In a place like this where every inch of land was worth its weight in gold, How much longer do we have to fly for? Soon, I guess. Meng Luo glanced outside. In any case, when I went to the Endless Fire region before, it usually took around half an hour. Hey, we're here. Hurry up. That's Big Sister Bayu's home. Meng Luo waved her hands excitedly. Yi Zichen looked ahead. The grass was green. The mountains were green. The flowers were fragrant. This bustling scene was the complete opposite of what they'd seen in the Endless Fire region. He felt like even Earth couldn't compare to the scenery here. Young lady, we've arrived at the Bai clan, said the country lord. Meng Luo nodded. I understand. Great deity, let's go. Big Sister Bayu and the others are waiting for us. The cabin door opened. When they left, they saw several interstellar warships parked outside. There's a guest. Meng Luo glanced over, but didn't pay much attention. She grabbed Yi Zichen's arm. Let's hurry up and go. Chapter 2666. The Bai clan. The clan lived in a place where they used to live. There was a docking area on the outskirts of the mountain range. This was where Meng Luo's warship landed. Winnie and Su Lu also landed their warships in the docking area. When the cabin door opened, a marquis, followed by several marshals and counts, walked up to Meng Luo. Miss Meng Luo. With that, they bowed to the monarch-level guards behind Meng Luo. This was necessary etiquette. It was only natural for juniors to greet their seniors. However, when they saw Aylin and Winnie, their gazes froze. Meng Luo came here all the time. Almost all of the Bayou family members recognized her guards. The two dukes were unfamiliar, but as juniors, they still greeted Aylin and Winnie respectfully. Where's Big Sister Bayou? Asked Meng Luo. She's at the mountain resort. Young Master Flame Rat and Miss Hua Jinro are both there. The Marquis smiled. Are there guests? Meng Luo looked at the docked warship and arched her brows, then circled it. That warship looks pretty high class. The guests aren't ordinary. That's right. The Marquis smiled and nodded. It seems an old friend of the clan heads has come to visit. Uncle Bai's friend? Isn't that a hegemon? That's right. What are they here for? Meng Luo seemed to have a million questions. From her expression, it was clear that she cared deeply about Bayu's family. I don't know about that. The Marquis smiled and shook his head. All right, then keep busy. I'll go in and find Big Sister Bayu myself. No need to worry about us. Meng Luo grabbed Yi Zichen's arm and led him inside. All of a sudden, Yi Zichen felt a murderous glare from behind him, and an oppressive chill rose from beneath his feet. He didn't even need to think to know that it was definitely Su Lu's. She was his sister-in-law. Although Yi Zichen had plenty of women by his side, that was already set in stone. She couldn't care less. Now, he was even hugging Meng Luo. How could Su Lu, as his older sister, be happy? Meng Luo, let's go as usual. He hurriedly let go of Meng Luo's arm, then grinned at Su Lu. This sister-in-law was not someone to be trifled with. If he really provoked her, she would throw an eye star at him. Howl! Meng Luo seemed a bit unhappy. She snuck a peek at Su Lu and wrinkled her nose in annoyance. Su Lu couldn't be bothered to bicker with this brat. There was no response at all. His eyes were as cold as ever. He actually ignored her. Meng Luo was immediately displeased, and she frowned. I'll go in with Brother Yezi. Don't let them in. Stop fooling around. Yi Zichen patted Meng Luo's head. Do you want me to die? Oh. Meng Luo muttered dejectedly, then glanced at Su Lu. Then let's go together. The road was winding. Even though it was a little long, he could still feel the birds and the fragrance of the flowers again. It was a pleasant feeling that belonged to nature. Great God! Is she going to the Ancestral Dragon Clan too? Of course she's going. Yi Zichen shrugged. Why else would she come here? All right then. Meng Luo didn't say anything else. She simply shrugged. She's cold. Big Sister Lu is just like that. She's of the ice element, a master of the ice element. Yi Zichen laughed. How much longer do we have to walk? Why don't we just fly over? There are seals up there. Meng Luo glanced up at the transparent sky. There are seals all around Big Sister Bayu's house. If we fly, they'll be triggered. Even a hegemon would have to walk here. So overbearing. Yi Zichen arched his brows. Of course, this is the Bai family estate. Meng Luo said matter-of-factly. Even a supreme expert has to give us some face. I heard that the Blue Emperor came here last time, but he also walked. Is that so? The Blue Emperor came before? That's normal. Our hidden Emperor Planet's clans are pretty close to the Virtual World Corporation and the Universe Union Bank. Meng Luo wasn't too surprised. When Li and the Blue Emperor came to my house too, they're bound to visit. Zhao Xian silently gave her a thumbs up. The fact that they could hang out with supreme experts like when Li and the Blue Emperor was enough to show just how important Meng Luo's clans were. Clans like that, even among first-rate clans, they were bound to be at the top. Yi Zichen thought about it. He was pretty lucky. He'd run into them when he arrived in the second universe. They'd been so generous. Yi Zichen had assumed they were the heirs of some great clan, perhaps like Steel Bar. Who would have guessed? They were the four ancestors of Planet Een, and he just so happened to be on good terms with them. Thank the second universe. Without the second universe, it really would have been impossible for him to get to know ancestors of their level. Meng Luo smiled innocently when she saw Yi Zichen's thumbs up. Great deity, there's actually something I've always been curious about. Speak. Are you really the reincarnation of the Master of the Galaxy? Meng Luo's eyes were filled with confusion. If you're the reincarnation of the Master of the Galaxy, why are you interacting with children like us? No, there is nothing to hide from Meng Luo and the others. What's more, Meng Luo and the other families should know that Yi Zichen wasn't the true master of the Milky Way. Therefore, there's no need to hide this kind of thing. If he told the truth, he would leave a good impression. You're not? Oh, that's great. Meng Luo let out a sigh of relief. You scare me to death. What happened? If you were the Master of the Galaxy, I would feel a lot of pressure. Meng Luo wrinkled her nose. The Master of the Milky Way is a senior. He holds a high position in the entire human universe. Coming into contact with such a person, I'm sure you'll be afraid. What's there to be afraid of? The Master of the Galaxy doesn't eat people. Anyway, it's best if you're not the Master of the Galaxy. The Flame Rat said a few days ago that if you were the Master of the Galaxy, he wouldn't play with you anymore. He said it was too stressful. Meng Luo smiled. Then, great God, you must have a close relationship with the Master of the Galaxy. Otherwise, why would he give you the elemental sprite? Yes, that's right. Yi Zichen nodded. Then who's he to you? Meng Luo asked in a testing manner, then pursed her lips. You? Are you the Master of the Galaxy's illegitimate child? Yi Zichen was instantly stunned. He stood there for a long time, unable to react. What did you just say? Illegitimate child? Who taught you that phrase? Chapter 2667. An illegitimate child was born. When Yi Zichen saw Meng Luo's innocent face, he knew that it was definitely Hua Jianrou who said it. Did Hua Jianrou tell you? Yeah, I knew it. Among the four ancestors, Hua Jianrou was the oldest and the least proper. Baiyu definitely wasn't the type to talk behind someone's back. Meng Luo was naive. The Flame Rat was more obedient. Only Hua Jianrou. Don't listen to her nonsense. Don't play with her too much in the future. She's going to lead you astray. Yi Zichen reminded. Sister Hua is very nice. What's so good about her? Gossiping behind his back, calling him an illegitimate child. How much longer until we get to the mountain resort? Soon. Meng Luo pursed her lips. Then what is your relationship with the Master of the Galaxy? He's half a teacher to me. About half an hour later, Yi Zichen and company passed through the mountains, then arrived in empty space by a small path between two cliffs. It was surrounded by mountains. Surrounded by water, it looked like a lake. In the middle of the lake, a villa stood on the lake. The main entrance to the lake was connected to a wooden bridge that led to the shore where Yi Zichen and the others were. We're here. Not bad. Yi Zichen nodded. Who built it? Sister Baiyu. Meng Luo replied with a smile. Is that so? After entering the villa, they saw the Flame Rat and Hua Jianrou sitting on the wooden bridge fishing. Baiyu was standing behind them, watching silently. Sister Baiyu. Meng Luo shouted with a smile. The Flame Rat and Hua Jianrou, who were fishing, turned around. Baiyu also turned around and saw Yi Zichen, who was standing on the side. Guru. The Flame Rat smiled in surprise. At first, He wanted to charge forward, but then he remembered that Yi Zichen was the master of the Milky Way. So he stopped in the middle. Ayaya, isn't this our great master of the galaxy? Hua Jianro, who had thrown down her fishing rod, grabbed her belt and swaggered over. Before he could take 2 steps, Yi Zichen pressed down on his head. Why are you so talkative? What are you doing? Show some respect. Even if you are the master of the galaxy, I am not an ordinary person. Hua Jianro shouted. Illegitimate child? You said so? Yi Zichen squinted his eyes, as if he wanted to devour someone. Did I say that? Hua Jianro grinned. She smiled sheepishly as she glared at Meng Luo and winked at her. It had to be Meng Luo. Don't scare Meng Luo. Yi Zichen reached out and turned her head around. You're really annoying. Back when I was selling resources in the Milky Way, you bought the least, but you talked the most. Our family doesn't have money. Hua Jianro glared. Then tell me about illegitimate children. Yi Zichen frowned. How did I become the master of the galaxy's illegitimate child? Whose illegitimate child? Leader Wen Li. The flame rat spoke. Do you want to die? Hua Jianro kicked the flame rat. Hearing the flame rat's words, Yi Zichen's hand, which was holding Hua Jianro, stiffened. Hua Jianro, you really dared say that. I'm just saying it in private. Hua Jianro smiled. It's not like there's anything wrong with gossiping. You dragged Wen Li into this? Gossiping? If Hua Jianro's family was destroyed, then Yi Zichen would most likely be gone because of what she said. The Master of the Galaxy and Leader Wen Li did have an ambiguous relationship, but something like illegitimate children. Nonsense. They might even be exterminated. You really are seeking death. Yi Zichen knocked her head. Let me explain it to you seriously. The Master of the Galaxy is half a teacher to me. After the Milky Way galaxy was destroyed, I was the person he chose to inherit his legacy. With that, the gazes of the country lords behind Meng Luo towards Yi Zichen changed slightly. Inherit the legacy of the Master of the Galaxy. It was very possible that he would become the next Master of the Galaxy. What's more, he was already the Master of the Galaxy and had the support of the Virtual World Corporation and the Universe Union Bank. His future was limitless. Student, Hua Jianro was stunned, then looked very depressed. Hurry up and give up on your dangerous thoughts. Yi Zichen even doubted whether taking her to the ancestral dragon clan was the right decision. If she said something she shouldn't, what's the big deal? Hua Jianro said indifferently. All right, let's talk about other things on our way, said Yi Zichen. Then he pointed at Su Lu'er. Let me introduce you. This is Su Lu'er. She's also going with us to the ancestral dragon clan. By you, Flame Rat, Hua Jianro, Meng Luo. The 4 ancestors of planet Een spoke up one after another. Su Lu nodded coldly as usual. What a cold sister, muttered the Flame Rat. Right? She's so mean. She won't even let me touch the great goddess. Meng Luo muttered as well. It's starting again. As Meng Luo muttered, Yi Zichen acted as if he hadn't heard anything and continued his introductions. Winnie, Duke level. Aylin, Duke level. The 2 of them are our guards, but they are not servants. You guys have to be more polite to them, Wang Chong said. Yi Zichen pointed at Aylin and Winnie. Don't worry, great goddess. We won't do that. The Flame Rat smiled. I don't worry about you guys. It's just that some people... What's wrong with me? Hua Jianro glared at him. I'm very nice to the people of my clan. I'm not spoiled. I respect them a lot. Okay? I'm not talking about you. Yi Zichen shrugged. Yi Zichen shrugged. Hua Jianro instantly clenched her fist in anger. That's our setup. You guys already told the people of your clan, right? Can't we go? At that moment, the king behind Meng Luo asked. No, I only have 10 spots, and the guards cannot exceed Duke level. Yi Zichen shook his head. I'm really sorry. Then we can escort you to... No. Yi Zichen shook his head again. The test has already started. I already accepted the first trial mission on the way here. There might be a second and third mission along the way. If you guys go together, then you'll be ruining the test. Don't worry. There won't be any problems. Meng Luo smiled. Meng Luo smiled in relief. The Almighty is very strong. But young lady, what? Even the Milky Way lords can go. Big sister by you, big sister Hua Jianro, and the Flame Rat can go. Am I nobler than them? What's more, I already told my dad, he agreed. Young lady, you. Don't say any more. You can't change my decision. What? Do you want to make the decision for me? Chapter 2668. This wasn't Izichin's first time seeing Meng Luo like this. It was as if hidden beneath her little lowly exterior was a soul capable of dominating the world. Countless monarch-level guards stood in front of her. For a long while, none of them spoke. "Aya, don't worry," said Meng Luo. At this moment, Meng Luo stuck out her tongue and said with a smile, "The elders in the clan have said that there's no problem. I know you're worried about me, but it's okay. Young miss, don't worry. Do you not trust my dad?" Meng Luo shook the country lord's arm like a spoiled child. "Uncle Exan, don't get angry at my attitude just now." "I won't." The country lord shook his head. I knew it." Meng Luo pursed her lips and smiled sweetly. Then she sighed and scratched her head. "I'm still not used to being domineering." This sudden turn of events left Yi Zichin dumbfounded. He glanced at the flame rats and saw that they were astonished by Meng Luo's attitude as well. "Aya, why are you looking at me like that? I don't want to be like this either, but my dad said I need to inherit the family. I have to learn to be strong. But that doesn't suit me at all." Meng Luo seemed somewhat dejected. She drooped her head in exhaustion. "I don't like being mean to others. The clan head is doing this for your own good," said the country Lord Meng Luo, called Uncle Exan. "In the future, young miss will need to lead the spirit rabbit lineage. I'll do my best." Meng Luo pursed her lips. Everyone else watched this scene silently, but no one said a word. "Since we can't go with you, we'll be going back first," said Uncle Exan. Meng Luo smiled and nodded. "All right, right. Don't forget Azure Wood's 10 million primal chaos." "Yes, sir." The monarch-level guards all left. Finally, the flame rat arched his brows. "Does General Azure Wood owe you money?" "No, he owes the great god money." Then Meng Luo recounted what had happened outside Planet Een to the flame rat and the others. "Damn, he's got guts. Someone who dares to accept 10 million primal chaos should be killed. Looks like I'll have to teach those families on Planet Een a lesson in the future." Hua Jinro glared angrily at Yi Zichin and raised her eyebrows. "Yi, don't worry. Aoki and his family won't dare to do anything to you, but if they dare, I'll teach them a lesson." "Yes, great God. Don't worry, we're here." The flame rat also nodded. This was the confidence of a descendant of a large family. Even though Greenwood was a kingdom lord, in the universe, this was already a very high level of power. Unfortunately, on Planet Een, he wasn't much. Take Meng Luo, for example. Her guards consisted of 6 monarch-level experts. One could imagine how powerful her family was. With Greenwood's strength, even if he went to their family, he would only be a guard. If such a clan wanted to deal with him, it would be too easy. "I have nothing to worry about. The Milky Way is so far away from Planet Een. Can he still attack my Milky Way?" Yi Zichin shrugged with a smile. "I'm actually worried for him. He probably won't have a good time after being targeted by you ancestors." "He deserves it," Hua Jinro snorted. "I know," the flame rat nodded. "He actually dared to bully the great god. It's one thing if it was anyone else, but bullying the great god is... Find my ass." Hua Jinro patted the flame rat's head. "This kind of thing cannot be done to anyone. This kind of behavior of his is wrong, and he should be controlled." "Awoo." Yi Zichin listened to their united hatred for a common enemy, but he noticed that Baiyu hadn't said a single word. Furthermore, it seemed like she had something on her mind. "Baiyu, what's wrong?" "Ah, nothing." Baiyu returned to her senses. "I'm fine. You guys talk." "What are you talking about?" "We have to go." There was a time limit to their trip to the ancestral dragon clan. What they had to do now was head there as soon as possible. As for the Steel clan, he didn't plan on going there. He would inform Ba, Air, and Baiyu about it later. Who knew if there would be a second or third trial along the way? If there was, he wouldn't have time to pick up Ba, Air, and Baiyu. "Now," Hua Jinro was startled. "You just arrived on Planet Een. Aren't you going to stay for a few days?" "I don't have time to play." Yi Zichin asked. "All right then." Hua Jinro did not insist on it. She had already told her family about it. What was even more surprising was that None of the family elders who'd previously forbidden her from leaving planet Een had objected. They all supported her, following Yi Zichen to the ancestral dragon clan. Leaving planet Een was naturally a good thing. Since her birth, the number of times she had left planet Een could be counted on one hand. Are you in a hurry? At that moment, Baiyu furrowed his brows. You didn't handle it well? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows when he heard Baiyu's tone. I'm not really in a hurry, but I don't know what will happen along the way, so it's best to hurry up. Do you have anything else to say? It wasn't me. Before Baiyu could even finish speaking, outside the mountain villa, several monarch-level experts walked in. When he saw them, Baiyu couldn't help but sigh. They're here for you? Hua Jianro tilted her head at Baiyu, as if she didn't know. Baiyu nodded silently and pursed his lips. They're here for me. It seems like some of the monarchs aren't from your family. Hua Jianro placed her hand on her forehead and gazed into the distance. I should know all of your family's monarchs and above. They're indeed not from my family. Baiyu nodded. Is it that guest? Meng Luo recalled the warship docked outside. When I arrived, I saw a warship docked outside. It looked very high class, even better than mine. A guest? Why didn't we know? Hua Jianro and the flame rat were both confused. Baiyu bit his lips and looked towards Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen, can I ask you for a favor? Go ahead. Yi Zichen nodded. Not long later, he glared at Baiyu. Are you sure? Please. Baiyu's expression was somewhat pleading. Sure. Yi Zichen hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Seeing him agree, Baiyu seemed to feel a bit more confident. What are you guys talking about? Why are you being so mysterious? Hua Jianro, the flame rat, and Meng Luo's eyes were filled with curiosity. At that moment, the monarchs arrived in front of Baiyu. Young lady, the clan head invites you over. Chapter 2669. Let's go. Facing the monarch, who came to notify Baiyu, Baiyu didn't even glance at them, nor did she ask any questions. It was as if she already knew what was going to happen. He nodded towards Yi Zichen and company. Thus, Baiyu prepared to leave the mountain villa. Miss, the chief wants you to go by yourself. Yi Zichen and company reminded Baiyu when they saw that the country lord-level expert was about to die. Why does little white want to go alone? Before anyone else could speak, Hua Jianro had already walked up and frowned at this monarch. I know you. You're third brother's man. Miss Hua Jianro, please watch your words. The monarch-level expert frowned. Third elder, you are not someone you can be so impudent. What? Are you trying to scare me? Hua Jianro pouted and spread her hands, staring straight at the monarch in front of her. Are you going to hit me? I wouldn't dare. If you don't dare, then hurry up and make way for me. Hua Jianro twisted her neck. Baiyu and I are good sisters. We all grew up with Baiyu. Baiyu's father also treats us like his own children. Can't we go and greet him? There are guests in the front hall. The monarch frowned. How interesting. Hua Jianro narrowed her eyes, tilted her head, and smiled at the king in front of her. Is there a guest in this world that I, Hua Jianro, cannot meet? Who do you think I am? I am the next clan leader of Hua clan. Who can I meet? The king-level expert was rendered speechless. He furrowed his brows and glanced at Meng Luo and the others. Why are you looking at them? You know everyone here. Do you need me to introduce you to Meng Luo and the Flame Rat? They are the future successors of their clans. As for this one, Hua Jianro pointed towards Yi Zichen. The Milky Way Overlord doesn't have the right to meet that so-called VIP. Get out of my way. Today, we're going with Baiyu. Let's see who dares to stop us. Whether it was his words, expression, or attitude, Hua Jianro was very domineering. She raised her hand and pushed the middle-aged monarch, but the monarch didn't dare to resist at all. Mississippi, the clan leader wants you to go by yourself. I'm going by myself. Baiyu turned around and glanced at him, but Hua Jianro and the others are my friends, not my subordinates. I have no right to make decisions for them. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone from the mountain resort left the wooden bridge. On the way to the front hall, Hua Jianro glanced back and saw that those people had been following them. Baiyu, what's going on? Why are the people who came to find you under third brother? Why didn't your father's people come personally? And those few, they're not your third uncle's men, nor are they from your family. Who are they? It's a little special. Bai Yu bit his lip. You have to say it's special. Hua Jinro frowned. Is your father in trouble? Your third uncle wants to usurp the throne? Just tell us. Our families have been friends for generations. With our relationship, we will definitely help you. It's not what you think. Bai Yu pursed his lips. Then, tell us. Hua Jinro was extremely anxious. You're not saying anything. Aren't you making us anxious? I'm an adult. Under Hua Jinro's continuous questioning, Bai Yu let out a deep breath. Huh, you're an adult? We're adults too. Flame Rat, Meng Luo, who's not an adult. Everyone. At this moment, Hua Jinro suddenly froze. She looked down at Bai Yu's biting lip and her gaze. Whose family is it? Your third uncle found them for you? Logically speaking, your family shouldn't need to do this. Bai Yu lowered his head silently and didn't reply. Hua Jinro, who had guessed it, didn't continue shouting. She turned around and looked at the few kings behind them with a frown. It's my fault. If only I was a man. What do you mean? I'm a man. Flame Rat spoke up. Can I help? What can you help? Isn't Bai Yu your sister? Yes. Then what are you talking about? Hua Jinro rolled her eyes. Meng Luo tilted her head and revealed a curious look. Just what happened? Don't worry about it. Hua Jinro waved her hand and walked in front of Yi Zichen. Grit your teeth and endure it. I'll give you a heads up. The pressure you'll face will definitely not be small. The Bai Yu family isn't a normal family. The people that can come here are definitely not simple. As long as you can endure it, I, Hua Jinro, will owe you one. Do you know why Bai Yu came to find me? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. I have a rough idea. Hua Jinro nodded. Hua Jinro nodded. I've experienced something similar before, but at the time, I was willing. Bai Yu didn't seem to like it. Your family is already so big. Does it need to be like that? You will understand in the future. Sometimes, being a big family doesn't mean that you have the right to choose. The bigger the family, the more they have to consider. Hua Jinro let out a long sigh. But logically speaking, Bai Yu shouldn't be doing something like this. She is the divine lady with the divine fire, spiritual seed, and the eldest daughter of the first wife of the clan head. Something like this should normally be done by branch family members. Anyways, it can be seen from this that the person that came isn't simple. My Milky Way Lord can't handle it. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. It might be easier if your teacher was still here, but now it's just you. You only have the Milky Way galaxy, and you don't have the ability to protect the Milky Way galaxy. So the result is hard to say. Hua Jinro squinted her eyes. Hua Jinro narrowed her eyes and said, Don't worry, I will help you. How will you help me? You'll know when the time comes. You just need to handle it. Hua Jinro squinted her eyes and looked at the king. Hua Jinro narrowed her eyes and looked at the king behind her. I can tell that third brother is doing this on purpose. I've always disliked this brat. Maybe he's planning something by doing this. Is this a family competition? It could be that intense. Hua Jinro nodded. OL3 is Bai Yu's third uncle. He has always wanted the position of clan head. What's more, his son also has a spiritual seed. I understand. Actually, Hua Jinro's thoughts were a bit off. What OL3 was doing seemed more like he was clearing the obstacles for his son. As they spoke, they arrived in front of a building. Just as they were about to enter the building, Bai Yu let out a soft sigh, then turned around to look at Yi Zichen. When she saw Yi Zichen nod towards her, she also clenched her fist and slowly walked towards the entrance. Chapter 2670. The front hall was made of pure wood. There was even a stream flowing in the middle. Not only that, but there was also a lot of green vegetation. It was clear that when the front hall was being built, the Bai clan intentionally did not destroy the ecology of the place and left it in its most pristine state. The only difference was that there was a man-made structure here. Even so, it did not affect the beauty of the original ecology. It was strange. The Bai clan was a clan that utilized fire, and the descendants of the clan were mostly masters of the fire element. However, ever since Yi Zichen arrived at the Bai clan, he saw water. Bai Yu's mountain villa was like that, and the front hall was the same. Most of the buildings were made of pure wood. However, their fundamental fire could not be felt here at all. Yi Zichen would not be able to tell that the Bai clan was a fire elemental family just by looking at the buildings. The front hall was very long. When Yi Zichen and company followed by you into the front hall, they even passed a 10-meter-long bridge. As they moved forward, they could sense several surging auras coming toward them from afar. If Yi Zichen was right, there were at least 6 of them. The feeling they gave him was similar to that of the Spirit Phoenix supremacy. In other words, there might be more than 6 seniors at the venerable level or above waiting for them ahead. Sovereigns. Even without the auras, Yi Zichen could roughly guess who they were. The people who came to find them were all monarchs, so it was easy to imagine what kind of experts they were sitting in there. Sovereigns were the most basic, right? It seems like it really is, as Hua Jinro said, it won't be easy. Yi Zichen wasn't sure if he could handle the pressure from several sovereigns. Approximately half a minute later, they finally arrived at their destination after crossing the bridge. It was a place that looked like an alley. There were 2 chairs facing the entrance and a wooden table in the middle. There were people on the chairs. One of them was a handsome man who looked almost the same as Baiyu. He had long silver hair. At that moment, he had his eyes closed, as if he wanted to fuse with everything around him. It was like a beautiful painting. There was also a middle-aged man sitting on the chair beside him. Compared to the handsomeness of the previous man, this middle-aged man was much rougher. A full beard was the most basic feature. His arms and neck were covered with long golden hair, and there were many wrinkles around his eyebrows. Just by sitting there, he exuded a dignified aura like a lion. On both sides of the alley sat 2 men and a woman, and 2 women and a man. The 2 men and 1 woman on the left all had a flame brand between their eyebrows. The man looked similar to the handsome man from before, but he looked slightly older. The other one was a middle-aged uncle. From the inside out, he emitted a fiery, tyrannical aura, giving off the feeling that he could fly into a rage in the next second, but he was currently suppressing it. As for that woman, she looked similar to Baiyu. Yi Zichen didn't pay much attention to the other 2 women and 1 man. He didn't particularly like it. Those 2 women were extremely beautiful, but the universe was so big that there were naturally many people who were extremely beautiful. Moreover, immortals and above could change their looks. Looks were never used by experts to judge others. As for that man, he was very sinister. Ever since Yi Zichen entered the alley and was stared at, he felt like he was being targeted by a poisonous tongue. Fortunately, the man didn't pay much attention to him. He only glanced at him for a moment before looking away. Even so, Yi Zichen was unable to recover from that sinister feeling. Dad, Mom, 3rd uncle, Uncle 3 Lives. Baiyu walked in front of everyone and greeted the handsome man, as well as the person on the left. Lil Yu, you're here. The woman that Yi Zichen felt was somewhat similar to Baiyu smiled and nodded towards her. The tyrannical middle-aged uncle also smiled. Then 3rd uncle, Big brother, Lil Yu is here. 3rd uncle's eyes were filled with a smile as he spoke to the handsome man in the middle seat. Uh-huh. The handsome man replied softly, then didn't say anything else. The atmosphere in the alley turned strange due to his silence. Uncle Bai, Uncle, Meng Luo, Hua Jinro, and the Flame Rat also spoke up. You guys came as well? Only then did the handsome man open his eyes. I heard there are guests. I want to see them as well. Hua Jinro did not show any signs of fear in front of several sovereign-level experts. She merely shrugged towards them with a smile. So it's these people? You must be the precious daughter of the Golden Flower Overlord, the coarse middle-aged man laughed. The rough middle-aged man laughed heartily. The last time we met the Golden Flower Overlord, we were still supremacies. When you were born, I was in the outer realm and couldn't return in time. Otherwise, I would have been able to hug you. This is the Sky Lion Overlord. The handsome man also introduced him to Hua Jianro, the first overlord of the Sky Lion race, as well as the current leader of the Sky Lion race. He's a good friend that your father and I got to know when we were traveling outside. Uncle Sky Lion, Hua Jinro greeted with a smile. Ha, great. The Sky Lion Overlord laughed, then took out a green glass orb. I obtained this from the ruins of a broken star in the outer realm. It's a king-level trinket that can defend against soul attacks. I'll give it to you as a greeting gift. F***CK. King-level treasures and soul treasures are called trinkets. as expected of a Sky Lion overlord. "Thank you, Uncle Sky Lion." Hua Jianro did not refuse. She walked up and accepted the orb, then returned to Bai Yu's side. "These are the others. Flame Rat, my little sister's child." The handsome middle-aged man pointed at the Flame Rat. "Greetings, Senior." The Flame Rat greeted. "This is Meng Luo, the beloved daughter of the Spirit Rabbit lineage." "Greetings, Senior." As for this one, the handsome man looked towards Yi Zichen and hesitated for a moment. "Junior Yi Zichen greets seniors." Yi Zichen. Suddenly, the Sky Lion Overlord frowned. "Milky Way Lord?" "That's right. This junior is the Milky Way Lord." The moment Yi Zichen said that, the seniors in the alleyway all looked towards him. Bai Yu's mother and uncle looked at Yi Zichen curiously. Only the handsome man acted as if he already knew. He merely glanced at Yi Zichen indifferently, then looked away. During this time, Yi Zichen clearly felt, when the Sky Lion Overlord mentioned his identity as the Milky Way Lord, his subordinates all looked at him strangely. Yi Zichen, who had lived on the edge of life and death for many years. He could feel it. Their gazes were filled with killing intent. Chapter 2671. No matter how obscure their gazes were, Yi Zichen's sense of danger had always been excellent. Furthermore, he'd struggled on the brink of death countless times, so he was exceptionally sensitive to such things. Even though it was just for a moment, that man, who was like a poisonous snake, had indeed revealed his murderous intent. As for the two beautiful women, they were fine. One of them seemed to be very interested in him. "Huh, I really didn't expect to meet you here. You must be a student of the Master of the Galaxy." It seemed like Wen Li was right. Even though Yi Zichen had announced to the public that he was the reincarnation of the Milky Way Master, Yi Zichen still couldn't believe it. But to those experts, there was no way to hide it. It was the Heavenly Lion Overlord in front of him. He directly asked if Yi Zichen was the Master of the Galaxy's student. He didn't think Yi Zichen was the Master of the Galaxy. This kind of thing in front of these people who held the core information of the universe. There was indeed nothing to hide. "Yes." Yi Zichen nodded. He didn't deny it. "I'm also an old acquaintance of the Master of the Galaxy." The Heavenly Lion Overlord let out a long sigh. Yi Zichen didn't find this strange. Given the Master of the Galaxy's status, it was only natural that he befriended such peak-level experts. But if they knew each other, why would they still harbor killing intent toward him? Enemies? I still remember that when I was under Boss Cold Moon, I saw the Milky Way Master from afar. "Boss Cold Moon, you're Star-Lord Song Yue's man?" Yi Zichen frowned. "You can say that. Back then, I was indeed working under Planet Lord Song Yue. It's just that ever since I broke through to the supremacy level, I became the commander of the Heavenly Lions. After that, I had less contact with them." The Celestial Lion Overlord laughed. No wonder. It was no wonder that the people from the Celestial Lion Overlord wanted to kill him. Less contact? They probably still had contact in private, but it was just that they didn't reveal it to the public. "I see." Yi Zichen pretended to smile calmly. He did not know why, but ever since the Celestial Lion Overlord mentioned the Azure Moonstar Lord, he could not help but feel that the way the Celestial Lion Overlord looked at him was not right. "Heavenly Lion, didn't you come for my daughter this time? Why are you chatting with these juniors now?" The handsome man suddenly changed the topic. "Ha ha ha, sorry. Looking at these juniors, I can't help but feel a little nostalgic. I feel like saying a few words. Lord Fire God, please don't blame me." The handsome man also looked towards Yi Zichen and company. "Go to your aunt's place." "All right." Hua Jinro nodded, then gave Yi Zichen a meaningful glance, causing everyone to stand behind Bai Yu's mother. Only Bai Yu was left, standing alone in place, pursing his lips in silence. "Bai Yu, father." Bai Yu raised his head. "This is your uncle Heavenly Lion. He came here for you." The handsome man spoke. "Why did you come for me?" Bai Yu pretended not to know. "Xiao Yu." At this moment, Bai Yu's third uncle chuckled. "Lord Heavenly Lion, coming to find you is naturally a good thing." "What good thing?" Bai Yu didn't understand. "I'll say it myself." Without waiting for Bai Yu's third uncle to continue speaking, the Heavenly Lion Overlord chuckled and continued. "Lion Hong, come in." Rumbling thunder sounded out in everyone's ears. Not long later, a young man who looked similar to the heavenly lion overlord walked in. He was also covered in golden fur and exuded a noble aura. "Father, come, come, come." The heavenly lion overlord waved towards a young man. Hearing that, the young man walked in front of the heavenly lion overlord and looked at Baiyu for a while. "Xiaoyu, this is my son, Lion Hong. I've been in the outside world my entire life. He's the only son I have at home." The heavenly lion overlord sighed like an elder. The celestial lion overlord sighed like an elder talking about family matters. "In the future, if I'm really unlucky, Lion Hong will be my only successor." Roar. The cold reply caused the heavenly lion overlord to frown, but he quickly returned to normal. "You might not like what I'm saying." The heavenly lion overlord frowned slightly. "Hey, you're getting old, so you always like to talk about these things. Then I'll get straight to the point. I came to propose marriage." Meng Luo and the flame rat were both stunned, as if they were very surprised by the heavenly lion overlord's words. As for the others, their expressions were normal. They all seemed to know the heavenly lion overlord's intentions. Among them was Baiyu. When she heard that he had come to propose marriage, her expression did not change and was still cold. "Your father and I have been close friends for many years. A long time ago, we said that if our children are of the same gender, then we will be close friends for life. If they are of the opposite gender, then we will be connected by marriage." This time, Baiyu was not as calm as before. She raised her head and looked at the handsome man. The handsome man also nodded lightly. "I did say it. Haha, look. Your father still remembers." The heavenly lion overlord laughed. "Now is perfect. I'm a son, and you're a girl who hasn't gotten married yet. Why don't our two families get married? The human race is currently in turmoil. If our two families can get married, then no matter how big the turmoil is, it won't affect us in the slightest." Baiyu's hands instantly clenched. She bit her lips and looked at her father with eyes filled with confusion. "You decide." The handsome man did not have any intention of making a decision for Baiyu. "Xiaoyu, my son, is here too. I brought him here for you to see. I heard from Lord Fire God that you're going to the ancestral dragon tribe later. My son is going too. Why don't you join his team and get to know each other better?" "She's also going to the ancestral dragon tribe," Hua Jinro exclaimed. "Yeah." The Sky Lion Overlord laughed. "My son is also a member of the Universe Mercenary Alliance and has the qualifications to head to the Ancestral Dragon Clan. Are you guys going as well?" "That's right. The Milky Way Lord is here. He must have invited you." "That's good too. You'll get to know each other later, and you'll be able to take care of each other when you get there." Universe Mercenary Alliance. Hostile. It seemed like the Heavenly Lion Overlord was really Tsang Yu's subordinate. Yi Zichen frowned as he looked at Baiyu, who stood in the middle. According to what Baiyu had said to him, she should have just told him her plan. Yet up until now, she had not said anything. She had only clenched her fists. What was she worried about? During that time, Baiyu bit his lips and glanced at Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen nodded towards her, indicating that she could continue. But she still didn't say anything. Is she afraid of getting involved? Yi Zichen knitted his eyebrows and thought back to what the Heavenly Lion Overlord had said. Hong will go to the Ancestral Dragon Clan as well. Baiyu was afraid of making enemies for Yi Zichen. "Xiaoyu, what do you think?" "Sorry, I have to interrupt." At that moment, Yi Zichen strode forward and wrapped his arms around Baiyu's waist. "Baiyu cannot agree to this marriage proposal, because she already has me." Chapter 2672. The hall was completely silent. Everyone looked at Yi Zichen and Baiyu, their expressions completely different. Baiyu's mother seemed surprised. However, she quickly nodded at Yi Zichen, as if she was a mother-in-law looking at her son-in-law and finding him more and more pleasing to the eye. That hot-tempered Uncle Big Ball frowned as he examined Yi Zichen for a long time, his gaze alternating between Yi Zichen and Hong. In the end, he nodded as if he was more satisfied with Yi Zichen. However, when he saw that Yi Zichen's hand was placed on Baiyu's waist, he frowned. As for the Heavenly Lion Hegemin, that viper-like man hadn't changed much. His gaze was still the same, infuriating gaze. The red-shirted woman, sitting at the head of the table, raised her eyebrows. She pursed her lips into a half-smile, as if she was very interested in Yi Zichen's sudden appearance. As for the woman sitting in the middle, she maintained a cold expression the entire time, as if nothing here affected her in the slightest. Bayu's third uncle. His gaze was deep, and his eyebrows were furrowed. Even he didn't seem too hostile. This surprised Yi Zichen quite a bit. At first, he thought that Bayu's third uncle had planned all of this. If he appeared now, then he would be the most furious person. However, he didn't expect. He wasn't as angry as Yi Zichen imagined. His gaze seemed to be considering something. Perhaps he was thinking, if Yi Zichen married Bayu, would it affect his son's path to the position of clan head? Meng Luo and the Flame Rat were both shocked. Especially Meng Luo, who covered her mouth in shock. Su Lu frowned, but didn't say anything. Yi Zichen had told her everything along the way. She knew the reason for Yi Zichen's actions. The happiest among them was Hua Jianrou. She secretly gave Yi Zichen a thumbs up. She had been worried whether Yi Zichen would really step forward or not. She didn't think that he would step forward without Bayu even needing to say anything. How loyal! Bayu subconsciously blushed when Yi Zichen hugged her waist. For a girl, the waist was a rather private part. She was so old. Yi Zichen was the only person of the opposite sex who could hug her waist. Bayu's heart raced when she felt the warmth of Yi Zichen's hands on her waist. She pursed her lips and glanced at Yi Zichen. Her face flushed red with confusion. She was very strange. Why did Yi Zichen still stand up in this sort of situation? Her father had already made it very clear that he would not interfere with her choice. In fact, he was also indicating that he had no opinion on this marriage. Her original intention in seeking out Yi Zichen was, with her father's support, she could use Yi Zichen as an excuse to avoid the marriage. Now that her father didn't care, Yi Zichen would face even more pressure. But she couldn't use telepathy. The people sitting here were all famous experts. It was very easy for these seniors to know the contents of the voice transmissions between their juniors. Yi Zichen smiled the entire time. His gaze was more focused on Bayu's father, Fire God, and the Heavenly Lion Overlord. There was still no change in Lord Vulcan's expression. It was the same for the Heavenly Lion Overlord. On the other hand, his son, Shi Hong, frowned. Although it was only for a fleeting moment, Yi Zichen still caught sight of it. The silence continued. Since the seniors didn't speak, Yi Zichen simply wrapped his arms around Bayu's waist and silently waited for them to speak. About half a minute later, ha! The Heavenly Lion Overlord was the first to laugh. Milky Way Lord, what did you mean just now? I meant exactly what I said. Yi Zichen looked straight into the Heavenly Lion Overlord's eyes. To tell you the truth, Bayu and I already confirmed our relationship 10-odd years ago. Just now, when the Heavenly Lion Overlord said that he was going to propose marriage as a man, I cannot remain silent. Hua Jianrou, who stood behind Bayu's mother, nodded in satisfaction. If it wasn't for the seniors noticing, she really would have given Yi Zichen a big thumbs up. That's it. Continue. Disregarding Yi Zichen's previous impression of him, Hua Jianrou felt that he was rather manly from the current scene. You and Lil, you confirmed your relationship? At that moment, Bayu's third uncle frowned. That's right. 10-odd years ago, yes. Ridiculous. Bayu's third uncle shook his head with a smile. Bayu has always lived in the clan. As her third uncle, how could I not know? What's more, I've never seen you in the clan. Where did your relationship come from? Who said that we have to meet in the first universe? Bayu and I met in the second universe. Hua Jianrou, the Flame Rat, and Meng Luo all met in the second universe. Yi Zichen explained with a warm smile. I can prove that. Hua Jianrou walked over. Hua Jianrou walked out. The few of us got to know each other in the second universe more than 10 years ago. At that time, we were together almost every day. Then you know about Bayu's relationship with the Milky Way Lord? Bayu's third uncle frowned. If you knew, then why didn't you say anything? If you did, then it wouldn't be like this. We don't know. Hua Jianrou shook her head with a smile. But we can feel that Bayu and Yi Zichen's relationship is rather close, but we never thought that it would be like this. Actually, It's normal for Hua Jinro and company to not know. Yi Zichen smiled warmly. Yi Zichen smiled warmly. I confirmed my relationship with Baiyu during the Genius tournament 10 years ago. Genius struggle? Why are we talking about that again? Baiyu participated in the Genius struggle 10 years ago. Yi Zichen smiled warmly. Yi Zichen smiled warmly. Back then, I was also in that examination room. We were still friends back then. Back then, there was a small disturbance, and I saved Baiyu. Saved Baiyu? Yi Zichen had thought through every step very clearly. If it was purely getting to know each other and developing feelings for each other, then the relationship was too thin, and it was rather fake. Who was Baiyu? She was the daughter of the fire god, the pearl of the Bai clan with a spiritual seed. Companionship? It would be too laughable if that could move her heart. Not to mention the lords here. Even Yi Zichen didn't believe it. It was too fake. The lifespans of the universe were very long. They were also stricter when it came to relationships. Companionship would move people, but it wasn't enough to make two people fall in love. Then how could he make the story richer? Reality. He needed the death storm during the Genius struggle. The hero saves the damsel in distress. Devote her life to him. That was a very melodramatic plot, but it was also the best. What's more, Zhao Xian put himself in jail in order to save Baiyu. No matter what, it made sense. Chapter 2673. If he lied, there was always a chance of being seen through. If he didn't want to be seen through, then he had to tell the truth. Death Storm. Yi Zichen was telling the truth about Baiyu. Even if the overlords wanted to investigate, there was no problem. Baiyu's third uncle frowned. He knew this. He also knew that after Baiyu returned, he destroyed the Shitu family at all costs. This was no small matter in the human race. In the end, the Bai clan had to mobilize their entire clan's power to suppress the matter. The Heavenly Lion Overlord naturally knew this as well. I do know all that the Milky Way Lord said. Baiyu's third uncle smiled. Baiyu's third uncle laughed and said, when Baiyu returned to the clan, he used his family's power to exterminate the Shitu clan. At the time, I found it very strange. I watched little Yu grow up and knew that her personality wasn't so tyrannical. Now, I finally understand. It was all for the Milky Way Overlord. Yi Zichen smiled, but said nothing. Before long, Baiyu's third uncle frowned, his gaze sharp. But if you want to say that you and Lil, you're going to marry each other just because of this, isn't that a bit too childish? The way I see it, you two haven't confirmed your feelings for each other, and that's just an excuse for Baiyu not wanting to marry Shirhan. Senior, why do you say that? Yi Zichen smiled like a spring breeze and looked in a third uncle's eyes. Feelings are hard to figure out. The Milky Way Lord is right. Third uncle Bai nodded in agreement. Third uncle Baiyu nodded his head in approval. Feelings are hard to say, but a hero rescuing a beauty and pledging her life to him does make sense. But do you really think we overlords are blind? Do you think we can't tell? As soon as third uncle Bai said that, Yi Zichen's heart sank. They could tell? Did these overlords all open their heavenly eyes? Yi Zichen subconsciously looked around. From their gazes, he could tell that Yi Zichen and Baiyu hadn't confirmed their relationship. True lovers aren't like you. Right now, you look more like you're just putting on a show. Instantly, Hua Jinro's gaze darkened. You can tell. That's bad. She knew that Baiyu and Yi Zichen really weren't lovers. Now that their relationship had been exposed, it wasn't good for either of them. Ha! Ha ha ha! At that moment, Yi Zichen looked up and laughed out loud. Everyone looked at him in confusion. The red-clothed woman on the Heavenly Lion Overlord's side stared at him with interest. Baiyu, it seems like we can't hide it any longer. Yi Zichen shrugged helplessly, while Hua Jinro couldn't help but cover her face. She couldn't blame Yi Zichen for giving up. He had done a good enough job. When Baiyu didn't take the initiative to mention him, he bravely stood up and even used a rather reasonable relationship to prove himself. Blame that third uncle. Baiyu also turned around and shook his head towards Yi Zichen. She naturally didn't blame Yi Zichen. Aside from third uncle, everyone in the Bai clan was frowning. Even Lord Fire God, who had been expressionless all this while, frowned slightly. Yi Zichen also slowly let go of Baiyu's waist. Just as everyone thought that Yi Zichen had given up, Overlord truly is an overlord. That's right, Bai Yu and I aren't engaged. What a shame for you guys to be able to tell. But I still object to the marriage between the heavenly lion overlord and the Bai family. Instantly, everyone in the hall looked towards Yi Zichen. Their eyes were filled with shock. The marriage between the heavenly lion overlord's heavenly lion clan and the fire god's Bai family was something that even the overlords had no right to object. What right did Yi Zichen have? His identity as the Milky Way Lord? To be honest, none of them cared about his identity as the Milky Way Lord. If the Milky Way Lord was in charge of the Milky Way, perhaps they would care about Yi Zichen's opinion. But now, the Milky Way Lord's fate was unknown. Thus, Yi Zichen's words naturally held less weight. Milky Way Lord, we can tolerate your little farce just now because you're the Milky Way Lord, but you can't possibly think that you have the right to affect the marriage, right? Bai Yu's third uncle laughed in disdain. I don't have the right. Yi Zichen shook his head. Then why? I object to the fact that we're just fighting over love. Yi Zichen sighed heavily, then looked at Bai Yu with shining eyes. I like Bai Yu, I love her. That's why I don't want her to marry someone else. She belongs to me. Everyone was stunned by these shocking words. I'm a rather introverted person. There are many things I've always kept to myself. I'll tell you the truth. Just now, Bai Yu sent me a transmission and told me to pretend to be engaged to her in order to interfere with the marriage. None of them were surprised at all. They all knew. I agreed. I did everything I could to act perfectly, but unfortunately, seniors still saw through me. After I was seen through, I actually retreated to the side. Congratulations on your marriage, Bai Yu. But I can't do it because I like her. Yi Zichen's eyes reddened. He took a deep breath. Bai Yu and I actually had many experiences together. Some were unforgettable, some were touching. Actually, I liked Bai Yu from the first moment I saw her. Yes, it was love at first sight, but I didn't dare to say it. I was only at the star body level back then, and had no status in the universe. I know, Bai Yu is a member of a big family. Back then, I was her and Meng Luo's fighter. I could earn over 1 million universe credits from them every day. Lion Hong couldn't help but snort. To him, 1 million universe credits wasn't even worthy of him saying it. Young Master Lion Hong laughed. You might think that 1 million universe credits is very little, but it was a huge sum of money for me back then. I was proud of earning 1 million in a day. But even more than that, it was pain. The more proud I was of this little bit of money, the more it proved that the distance between me and Bai Yu was growing larger and larger. Later on, I worked hard to earn money. I worked hard to improve myself so that I could catch up to Bai Yu, even if it was just a little bit closer. Yi Zichen's words caused everyone present to imagine a scene. It was the scene of small Fry at the bottom fighting for the love of his life, in order to get closer to the person he loved. A little bit, climbing up bit by bit. Meng Luo, the Flame Rat, and Hua Jinro were all shocked. They didn't know any of this. Don't mention knowing, they didn't even notice it. Chapter 2674. It was definitely a tragic story. Love at first sight. Huge difference in status. If there were no accidents, then this sort of feeling could only be hidden in one's heart and sealed away as a memory. If there were no accidents, nothing would have happened between me and Bai Yu. Even though I knew that I was the master's student, the future master of the Milky Way galaxy. But I knew very well, what esteemed master gave will always be esteemed master, and my identity as the master of the Milky Way's student isn't very likable. My master has a lot of friends, but he also has a lot of enemies. That's why I wanted to give up. Yi Zichen's tone was heavy, while his eyes were filled with struggle. But then I saw hope. I seem to have an advantage that many people don't have in the second universe. That's why I thought, when I become strong enough one day, I'll tell Bai Yu everything. The atmosphere in the alleyway was strange. Milky Way Lord, stop intentionally stirring things up here. Bai Yu's third uncle quickly stopped the conversation when he sensed the change in the atmosphere. Don't think that we can't tell that you're still acting. Is that so? Do you still think that I'm acting? Yi Zichen nodded. Do you think that I have no feelings for Bai Yu, and that everything I do and say is all an act? That's right. Good. Yi Zichen laughed. His laughter contained a hint of bitterness and arrogance. It was clearly two conflicting emotions, yet they appeared on his face at the same time. Then let me ask you, if it wasn't for the person you love, would you save her time and time again for a stranger you just met? A stranger wouldn't, but a friend would. Third, Uncle replied. You want to talk about how you save by you? You guys aren't strangers, right? At the very least, you're good friends, right? All right, then we're friends. Let me ask you again. Would you save your friend time and time again, even if you knew that you would die? Would you? It's only natural for me to risk my life for my best friend. Third, Uncle replied without any hesitation. Then, when you're facing death, will you give the chance to live to him without any hesitation at all? Then die and give up everything you have. Bayou's third uncle hesitated. At that moment, it was really hard for him to say that he could. Seniors, may I ask if you can do it? No one answered. I've saved Bayou multiple times, and each time, he was in dire straits. Every time, I knew I would die, so why did I still go? Let's take the Virtual World Corporation's disconnection of the internet in Universe 2 as an example. Bayou's third uncle, you just said that you could be a close friend, but I've only known Bayou for a few months. Will we have become close friends? If it was you, would you go? The second universe network collapsed. People in the virtual network could not leave the virtual network. The natives of the novice village carried out a plan to purge the humans of the first universe. How many people had died? Under those circumstances, whoever went would die. This matter shocked the entire universe. There was no way Bayou's third uncle and the others didn't know. Answer me. Will you go? Can't say it, right? I'm going. I risked my life to save Bayou and the others. Do you think we're just friends? Also, Bayou was heavily injured. I woke her up. Death storm. I directly pushed her out without any hesitation. You're telling me that this isn't love. I'm acting. Could it be that I knew this day would come 10-odd years ago? That I pretended to be a couple with Bayou in front of you and risked my life countless times just for this day? Is that so? Yi Zichen's voice trembled. He laughed maniacally as tears welled up in his eyes as he looked at the overlords. I'm acting. Yes, you're too right. I'm acting. I don't want my life anymore. I'm acting with you guys just for today. Shocked. The Flame Rat, Meng Luo, and Hua Jinro all opened their eyes wide in shock. They looked at Bayou and Yi Zichen as if they just heard a huge piece of gossip. None of the overlords said anything. Even Bayou's uncle and mother seemed to be moved by this. I can't do it. At that moment, the red-shirt woman suddenly spoke up. Brat, I can answer you. I can't be like you to a friend, even to a lover. I can't be as selfless and fearless as you. To be able to do this, either that's his personality to begin with, and he's willing to give up on himself for the people around him, or that person is truly important to you. Judging from your tone and gaze, I'm leaning towards the latter. Yi Zichen never expected the person speaking up for him to be the red-shirt woman from the Heavenly Lion Overlord's faction. Thank you for understanding, Senior. You're welcome. I really like people of the younger generation who value relationships like you. My name is Candle Joeen. You can call me the Nine Overlords or Sister Candle 9. The red-shirt woman nodded with a smile. Sister Candle 9. Good. Candle Joeen nodded in satisfaction, then shrugged towards the Heavenly Lion Overlord. Heavenly Lion, this child. I feel like she's not bad. Since she likes the Fire God's daughter so much, then don't bother with her anymore. Candle 9. Heavenly Lion frowned. Candle Joeen twitched his mouth and shrugged, then fell silent. Bayou's third uncle frowned. Enough. No matter what sort of feelings you have for Bayou, you can only blame yourself for not saying it earlier. Right now, the Heavenly Lion Overlord is sitting here, and his son is here as well. The marriage is about to be decided, and you're regretting it now? I'm telling you, it's too late. So what if it's too late? Who are you? Yi Zichen frowned, then smirked towards Bayou's third uncle. Bayou's parents didn't say anything. From the very beginning, it was just you, third uncle, talking and talking. I just want to ask, what right do you have? If I didn't know, I would have thought that Bayou is your daughter. I'm Bayou's third uncle. I watch her grow up, and I treat her like my own flesh and blood. It's not wrong to call her my daughter. Bayou's third uncle snorted. If you truly treat her like your own, then why didn't you ask Bayou whether she's willing or not? Yi Zichen questioned. Ask yourself honestly. No parent would truly not consider their child's feelings. However, I really didn't feel anything from you just now. You've always been in favor of Bayou and Shi Hong getting engaged. Why didn't you ask whether she's willing to be with a poor brat like me, who only likes her in secret? With that, Yi Zichen shook his head with a smile. Wait, I'm no longer a poor brat. I'm a Milky Way lord. Even though my esteemed master is still unknown, as a Milky Way lord, my status as a Milky Way lord in your Bai family are a match, right? I want to marry Bayou. Are you saying that I don't even deserve the chance? Chapter 2675. Lord of the Milky Way. He owned the entire Milky Way. Although the current Milky Way wasn't as large as it used to be, it was still an enormous galaxy, equivalent to a mid-sized cosmic nation. The resources it possessed were incalculable. Furthermore, even if Yi Zichen's title of Milky Way Lord didn't match up to his status in the eyes of these peak overlords, the title of Milky Way Lord truly belonged to him. This title alone was more than enough to surpass many first-rate clans. If Yi Zichen didn't look into the details, then it wouldn't be wrong to say that they were well-matched. The most important thing was his final question. Did he have the right? If Bayou's third uncle answered no, then that would be disdain for the Milky Way Lord, as well as the Milky Way Lord. Although the Milky Way Lord was nowhere to be found, the Virtual World Corporation and the Universal Union Bank were still in the universe. They couldn't possibly allow Bayou's third uncle to slander the Milky Way. If they really did come knocking, even the Bai clan had to consider whether or not they'd anger the two giants for Bayou's third uncle's sake. What's more, the Bai clan had more contact with the Virtual World Corporation, so they naturally had a closer relationship with the Milky Way. Thus, he couldn't say he didn't have the right. If he said he did, then the marriage alliance with the Celestial Lion clan might very well fall through, and the Celestial Lion Overlord's arrival would become a joke. He might very well have to bear the Celestial Lion Overlord's wrath. No matter how he answered this question, it definitely wasn't the best answer. Bayou's third uncle frowned and didn't speak. Yi Zichen looked him straight in the eye. Senior, do I have the right? F***CK. As expected of the great god. Third uncle Bayou was rendered speechless. The flame rat muttered. If it were me, I might not even dare to speak carelessly in front of so many overlords. Look at you. No matter what, your sacred fire son. How can you say something like that? Hua Jinro frowned. It's just a few overlords. What's the big deal? But the great god and big sister Bayou really? Meng Luo trailed off. Hua Jinro shrugged. I don't know, but the relationship between Bayou and Yi Zichen has always been weird. Maybe what Yi Zichen said was true. Alan's expression was the same as usual, without any fluctuations. Even though there were so many hegemons present, he was only a duke. His expression didn't change in the slightest. He simply stood in place, as if on guard against anyone attacking Yi Zichen. Su Luer's expression was cold. As Su Yan's older sister, Yi Zichen's words had already crossed the bottom line of what she could accept. It was just that Yi Zichen was smart. He'd reported it ahead of time. Even if she was angry, she couldn't lose her temper. Moreover, there were so many seniors here. As for Winnie, she was stunned. It was no wonder that her master thought so highly of Sir Lord. This kind of courage. If it were anyone else, even someone with Yi Zichen's background, they wouldn't dare say such a thing. Courage, and confidence. Not a single one could be omitted. Are you questioning me? Bayou's third uncle narrowed his eyes. With your general rank strength, you dare to question a level 3 overlord? His sharp gaze swept across Yi Zichen's face like a blade. The temperature in the alley also rose rapidly. Senior, are you trying to intimidate me? Yi Zichen stood proudly like a pine tree, then looked up. Senior, if you think my strength isn't enough, does that mean my status as a Milky Way Lord isn't enough? Huh. The candle dragon laughed inexplicably. Smart kid. Everyone could tell that Bayou's third uncle didn't know how to handle the title of Milky Way Lord, so he was avoiding it. However, Yi Zichen refused to let go of the title. As a Milky Way lord, I ask you, do I have the right to marry the Bai family's daughter? Yi Zichen asked. Yes. At that moment, the silent handsome man, Lord Fire God, spoke up. Big bro, OL3, that's enough. Fire God glanced at Bayu's third uncle. The title of Milky Way Lord is on par with that of the heads of the 8 great clans. This is something the entire universe knows. But enough, muttered Lord Fire God. Lord Fire God muttered. Bayu's third uncle immediately lowered his head, no matter how unwilling he was. In terms of strength, Fire God was the pillar of the Bai family, the one with the highest combat strength. He fought for 50% of the Bai family's position. Fire God's word was law in the family. That was publicly acknowledged. At first, Yi Zichen thought he still had a chance when Fire God hadn't said anything. If he spoke now, are you still going to protect your daughter? Milky Way Lord, this junior is here. Fire God was Bayu's father. Yi Zichen naturally had to respect him. Or rather, he respected all seniors. Of course, that was only if they abided by their status and did what seniors were supposed to do. You weren't polite just now. Fire God muttered. This junior admits it. Yi Zichen nodded. But this junior wants to say this for himself. This junior knows how to respect his seniors. When it comes to mutual respect, I'm a very polite person. Let's not talk about that. If you said that to OL3 as a Milky Way Lord, I wouldn't blame you. But if you want to marry my daughter, then you'll have to put down your airs as a Milky Way Lord. Fire God's tone was slow and gentle. Yi Zichen nodded deeply, then bowed. This junior understands. Then continue. As soon as Lord Vulcan finished speaking, he didn't say anything else. Yi Zichen frowned. In his heart, he didn't really understand what Fire God meant by continue. Ahem. Bayu's uncle coughed, as if to give Yi Zichen some sort of signal. Milky Way Lord. At that moment, the Candle Dragon spoke up with a chuckle. Sister Candle Dragon. All right. The Candle Dragon nodded with a smile. We all heard your heartfelt words just now. I'm very touched, but you've been expressing your feelings the entire time. You should ask little sister Bayu if she's willing to accept you. So that's how it is. Fire God wanted Yi Zichen to ask Bayu's feelings. In the end, it still came to this. Yi Zichen glanced at Bayu's third uncle. You want to ruin the show between me and Bayu? Don't even think about it. What should be Bayu's must be Bayu's. Yi Zichen took a deep breath and tilted his head. Before he could speak, Bayu suddenly spoke up. Was what you said just now true? Every word I said came from the bottom of my heart. Yi Zichen nodded seriously. Actually, I wanted to wait until I became a supreme before telling you all this as a Milky Way Lord, but I can't wait any longer. I can't just watch as someone else takes you away from me. Bayu, are you willing to accept me? Bayu's hands trembled inexplicably. His lips trembled as he nodded. I am. Chapter 2676. I'm willing. Bayu's reply reverberated throughout the hall. Bayu's eyes instantly lit up with a bright smile. That smile was like the morning sun in a glacier, melting the glacier and reviving all living things. Yi Zichen also smiled. Everyone is happy. The Candle Dragon was the first to applaud with a smile. The Candle Dragon was the first to applaud with a smile. His expression was filled with emotions. Lovers finally get married. What a beautiful scene. Candle Dragon. The Celestial Lion Overlord said gloomily. The Candle Dragon tilted his head and glanced at him. What? Isn't this worth celebrating? Fire God, what do you think? The Celestial Lion Overlord seemed to no longer want to pay attention to the crazy Candle Dragon. His eyes were filled with anger. It seems like we won't be able to get married. Not enough. Inexplicably, Lord Vulcan gently shook his head. Yes, not enough. Bayu's third uncle seemed to understand Lord Fire God's intentions. Milky Way Lord, it's a good ending for Lil Yu to accept your feelings. But if you think that this can stop our Bai family from getting married to the Celestial Lion clan, then you are gravely mistaken. What? All of a sudden, everyone's eyes were filled with shock. Dad! Fear lingered in Bayu's eyes as she looked at her father. Why? Senior, are you trying to break up a couple? Yi Zichen frowned. Uncle Fire God, Hua Jinro, also ran out. I only have one daughter, by you. Lord Fire God let out a deep sigh. Lord Vulcan took a deep breath. As her father, I want to see her excited. I'm very happy that you two are in love. Then you. But this is just a bonus, Lord Fire God said softly. The human race in the future will be in turmoil. There are internal divisions, and external races are eyeing us. The Bai family will not act against any of their own. We will be the line of defense in the outworld. Baiyu's uncle, mother, and even her third uncle did not reveal any surprise. It was as if they already knew about this decision. The celestial lion overlord frowned. He definitely didn't know about this. Baiyu is my most important treasure. I don't want her to go to that dark world. I want her to live. So, I agreed to the heavenly lion overlord's idea of a marriage alliance. Hua Jinro covered her mouth in surprise. No wonder she had been puzzled before. The Bai family actually did not need a marriage alliance. When she came here and saw the marriage partner, Hua Jinro was stunned. She couldn't find anything worthy of the Bai family's marriage alliance. Now she understood. Fire God was finding a way out for Baiyu. Perhaps my decision is a little unreasonable. It's good that both parties are in love. I'm very happy to see Baiyu meet the man she truly likes. As he spoke, Lord Vulcan's eyes revealed a gentle smile. But this is not enough. Galactic Lord, I acknowledge your position in the universe. I met your teacher a few times in the past. He's a senior that I respect. Our Bai family has a closer relationship with a virtual world corporation. If little you is with you, I should actually agree. But I hope you don't mind. I acknowledge your status, but I don't acknowledge your strength, including the overall strength of the Milky Way. If your teacher was still here, I would be very willing to let Baiyu marry you. Unfortunately, your teacher isn't here anymore. I won't let Baiyu go to a place with unstable foundations. It's impossible for me to entrust her to an organization that has enemies everywhere in the universe, but no allies in the true sense of the word. Indeed, the Virtual World Corporation and the Universe United Milky Way have announced their alliance, but the two of them, to put it bluntly, they can't even take care of themselves right now. The Universe Mercenary Alliance and the Universe's #1 dueling grounds are keeping a close eye on them. They cancel each other out. Or to be more precise, there's an additional half of the Universe's #1 dueling grounds in the Songyue Galaxy. Lord Vulcan didn't hide anything. He hit Yi Zichen's sore spot. He explained the relationship between the major powers in the universe without any hesitation. He also explained the strength of both sides. The combined strength of the Virtual World Corporation and the Universe United Bank was equivalent to the Songyue Galaxy, the Universe Mercenary Alliance, and half of the #1 dueling grounds. Do you think you have the strength to fight against half of the #1 dueling grounds? Yi Zichen was speechless. The Heavenly Lion Overlord's family doesn't have such concerns. Although he belongs to the Songyue Galaxy, his clan's overall strength is much stronger than your Milky Way. His clan's allies are also of high quality. Lil Yu's life will not be in danger there. Vulcan, it's fine, Heavenly Lion, I won't mind. Lord Vulcan smiled warmly. I've always known that you've always been someone from the Songyue Galaxy. But this doesn't affect the thousands of years of friendship between us. The Heavenly Lion Overlord nodded and sighed without saying anything. Milky Way Lord, you don't have any allies. How can I leave Baiyu in your hands? I'm worried. Who said I don't have allies? At that moment, Hua Jinro walked up. The Hua family is willing to be an ally of the Milky Way Alliance. The enemies of the Milky Way are the enemies of the Hua family. Jinro, can you represent the Hua family? Vulcan smiled. The clan head's golden seal is in my hands. Hua Jinro took out a golden peony flower. I am now the highest decision-maker of the Hua family. I can represent the entire Hua family. All right, I approve. Vulcan nodded, still not enough. I represent the Spirit Rabbit bloodline to be an ally of the Milky Way Alliance. Uncle Vulcan, in the clan. All right, you. And I approve too. The flame rat scratched his head. Uncle, I can't do it. My mom didn't pass the position to me. Great God, sorry, I can't support you. My words don't carry much weight. That's a pity. Lord Vulcan sighed, his eyes didn't change. Milky Way Lord, I approve that you have two excellent allies, but it's still not enough. Steel family and I. Steel family? I know, I can count him in, but it's still not enough. At that moment, a silver token suddenly fell from the sky. Is it enough? No one could see who it was, but they could hear a voice coming from the alley. Seeing this token, Lord Vulcan smiled inexplicably. It's enough. Sly old fox. If it's enough, then stop finding trouble with this junior. You're Supreme Being after all. Do you feel at ease bullying a junior like this? Supreme Being? Instantly, everyone in the alley widened their eyes. Vulcan, Supreme Being. Chapter 2677. The Seven Paragons of the Human Race. The Master of the Milky Way. The head of the Supremes Association, the Supreme President. Wunli, the head of the Virtual World Group. Universe United Bank, head Blue Emperor. The leader of the Universe Mercenary Alliance, God Flame, shuddered. The leader of the universe's #1 arena, Luo, Santian. The leader of the Weapon Alliance, Forge Heart. These were the 7 known supreme beings of the human race, and they were also publicly acknowledged as the 7 supreme beings of the human race. There was no difference in their battle prowess. Or rather, after reaching the level of supreme being, it would be very difficult to determine who was stronger and who was weaker. After the Master of the Galaxy disappeared, Star-Lord Sungyue broke through to the paramount being level and took over the position of Milky Way Master, becoming one of the 7 new paramount beings. The birth of any supreme being. It was a golden age for the human race. The human race would never hide such news, because only by doing so could they better intimidate the other races, make them fear the human race's power, and not dare to launch a large-scale war against the human race. And now, the Fire God had broken through to the paramount level, to the Celestial Lion Overlord, and those who were unaware of the situation. This news was like a heavy hammer that landed on their hearts. Fire God, Lord Fire God, you've broken through. The Heavenly Lion Overlord's pupils contracted violently, and his gaze toward the Fire God was no longer as casual as before. Previously, they were all overlords, apex overlords. There was almost no difference in their combat power. As such, the Sky Lion Overlord naturally did not have much respect for the Fire God. However, if the Fire God were to become an utmost being, then the difference between them would be like heaven and earth. Not only would it be a difference in strength, but it would also be a difference in status within the human race. The Fire God did not seem to hear the Heavenly Lion's question. Looking at the silver medal in his hand, he looked up at the void above his head. I noticed you the moment you entered Planet Een. At the time, I was wondering why you had the time to visit me. Now you know. A voice came from the void. I have a rough idea. Vulcan's eyes lingered with a smile. It's you. You're really unfriendly. Why did you tell me about my breakthrough? Do you know that I've been hiding for thousands of years? Now that you've said it, I'm afraid the entire universe will know about it. As an exalted one, you don't stand up for the human race. Instead, you live in a tiny place like Planet Een. Don't you feel vexed? The person in the void said coldly. I think it's okay. The Fire God whispered. I don't think it's good. That's why I said it on your behalf today. Even now, the person in the sky had not appeared, and no one could see where he was. Given the strength of the overlords in the alleys, a thought flashed across their minds. It might be an exaggeration to say that it covered the entire Planet Een, but with so much time, if they wanted to, it could cover the entire Planet Een. No one did. No one here dared to release even a little bit of cosmic energy, let alone find the location of the people of the void. Assuming that the identity of the Supreme Fire God was true, who is it that dared to speak to the most powerful being in such a manner and not be disgusted by the Fire God? The most powerful being. This was the only possibility. There is a saying in the human race universe. Under the Supreme Being, all living beings are ants. The same could be said of anyone. For some reason, the people of the universe seem to have a kind of arrogance and complacency in their bones. They would be very disdainful of people below their realm. They felt that the lower realms were like ants, but they had forgotten that they too had climbed up step by step from the strength of an ant. To put it simply, he had forgotten his roots. But the Supreme Being was different. Anyone would feel reverence when facing the Supreme Being. Even if they were treated as ants, no one dared to show the slightest bit of dissatisfaction. This was because the Supreme Being had already surpassed the limits of humanity and entered a higher realm. In the entire history of the human race, there were only a few Supreme Beings. In fact, it could be seen from Vulcan's attitude just now. Before the mysterious expert in the void appeared, Vulcan, who was standing on his throne, was like a pool of autumn water without any ripples. He didn't treat anyone with warmth or indifference. He didn't reveal any emotions. When people didn't know that the fire god was the Supreme Being, they might have interpreted this as the fire god's cold personality. But now, everyone understood that he simply didn't care about the people here and everything here. He didn't care what they said or what they did. He didn't care. But now, he treated the people in the void as if they were of the same generation. If he wasn't the Supreme Being, then what was he? As for the identity of this Supreme Being, no one dared to pry. The stronger the person, the more afraid they were of death. The older the person, the more difficult it was to live. No one would take the risk just because of a little curiosity. If they angered the Supreme Being, they wouldn't even know how they died. You're really speaking on my behalf. Do you want me to speak on your behalf too? The fire god smiled faintly. No matter what, I will eventually guard the human race's outer regions. What about you? You're different from me. Where? From the beginning to the end. The person in the void muttered, I don't have your loyalty to the human race. All right, I'm here as a psyche physique. If you force me out, my psyche physique will collapse. Don't find trouble with the younger generation. It's enough. There was no reply from the void. The fire god exhaled lightly, placed his waist token in his pocket, and looked at the others around him. My apologies, Heavenly Lion. I acknowledge the power of an ally of the Milky Way overlords. Moreover, my daughter is congenial with him. It seems like this marriage alliance will have to end here. The fire god's words signified his final decision. Hua Jinro and the others smiled, then tilted their heads towards Yi Zichen with curiosity in their eyes. Lord Fire God, the Heavenly Lion Overlord frowned. What is it? You? Are you truly a Supreme Being? Perhaps. The Fire God shrugged, then took out a pitch-black token from his pocket. The Society of Supremes gave it to me earlier. They said I could attend some sort of meeting with this token, but I didn't pay much attention to it. The octagonal token. The Heavenly Lion Overlord's expression froze. Then Lord Fire God, congratulations in advance on finding a good son-in-law. That's all there is to it. The Fire God didn't praise Yi Zichen too much. The Heavenly Lion Overlord let out a long sigh, then turned to the Candle Dragon and the others. Let's go. Knowing that the Divine Flame was a Supreme Being, no one dared to cause trouble here. Actually, even if they didn't have this relationship, they wouldn't dare do anything out of respect for the Bai clan. At most, they would be more polite. However, before they left, the Candle Dragon smiled at Yi Zichen as he walked past, then gave him a crystal. He didn't try to hide it at all. Remember to watch. After he finished speaking, the Candle Dragon left slowly. Chapter 2678. Outside the Bai clan, the Heavenly Lion Overlord's expression was extremely gloomy. His entire body was surrounded by a violent aura, as though he was on the verge of exploding. He stared at the Candle Dragon who was walking in front of him. Candle Dragon. Everyone stopped, except for the Candle Dragon, who continued to walk forward as if he did not hear anything. Candle Dragon. What's wrong? Are you calling me again? The Candle Dragon came back to his senses and looked at the Heavenly Lion Overlord who was about to explode. I'm really sorry. I was watching the virtual network just now and didn't hear you calling me. What's the matter? What were you doing just now? I'm checking out the virtual network. I'm talking about the time in the alley. The Celestial Lion Overlord suppressed the rage in his heart. You have spoken up for that kid time and time again. What the hell are you doing? You're talking about that. The Candle Dragon smiled and shrugged his shoulders. I just think he's interesting, and I want to get to know him. Showing goodwill is the most basic, right? Otherwise, how can he accept me? Show goodwill? You're a peak-level overlord, yet you're expressing goodwill. What's the problem? The candle dragon squinted his eyes and said, I have a pleasing personality. I like to express my goodwill to people I like. Then why didn't you think about us? I don't like you guys. The candle dragon looked calm. Is there a need to ask? You? The heavenly lion overlord's eyes were filled with rage. Fine, if you don't like us, then why did you ruin Lady Tsongyu's plans? Do you know that the marriage with the fire god was arranged by Lady Tsongyu? If the marriage is successful, the fire god will be on Tsonyue's side. Ha ha ha! For some reason, the candle dragon laughed and pointed at the heavenly lion overlord's face. Heavenly lion, why don't you call yourself true overlord? Candle dragon, don't try to boss me around. The candle dragon's eyes darkened. His gloomy gaze made one shudder with fear. If you don't believe me, go back and ask Tsongyu. If he knew that the fire god is the supreme being, would he still dare to allow you to continue the marriage? I said you lion men have no brains. Exactly. Candle dragon, are you provoking me? The tone of the heavenly lion overlord turned gloomy. Did I? The candle dragon shrugged and did not seem to be bothered. Sky lion, don't always act like you're the boss. I really don't like it. Also, don't think that just because I came with you, I'm one of your people. I just like to join in the fun. Don't blame me for being harsh. Your son really isn't good enough for the daughter of the fire god. If you think I'm ruining your plans, go tell Tsongyue and ask her to kill me. The candle dragon's eyes were filled with disdain. Sister, let's go. With that, the other female overlord walked over. Before she left, she nodded gently at the heavenly lion overlord, as though she was bidding farewell. He glanced at the heavenly lion overlord. The candle dragon turned around and did not put up any defenses, exposing his back to the heavenly lion overlord just like that. A naked provocation. The agitated heavenly lion overlord walked out without putting up any defenses. All of this is to say, I don't put you in my eyes at all, so don't ask for a snub here. The heavenly lion overlord did not do anything either. He watched as the candle dragon disappeared in front of him. Then a battleship left the Bai clan's entrance and disappeared. Heavenly lion overlord, I'm going back as well. After the candle dragon and his sister left, the snake-like overlord also smiled, revealing his sharp teeth. Go ahead. If Yizichin was there, he would definitely be shocked. None of the overlords that came with the heavenly lion overlord were his subordinates. They were purely there to support the heavenly lion overlord. All of a sudden, only the heavenly lion overlord and Lion Hong were left. Dad, why didn't you kill that woman just now? Lion Hong frowned. She doesn't take Dad seriously at all. Attack. Do you have a brain? The heavenly lion overlord walked forward with his hands behind his back, while Lion Hong followed behind him. Who is the candle dragon? If I had attacked her just now, she and her sister would have killed me without any hesitation. It's too hard for an overlord to kill him. It's hard to end the battle in a short period of time, and you might get dragged into it. What's more, the fire god won't allow us to attack on planet Een. In a battle between overlords, a single energy shockwave can destroy a life planet. Planet Een is his base. How could he watch it get destroyed? There's also another important point, the candle dragon. She's crazy. The heavenly lion overlord practically clenched his teeth when he said that. If I attack, then we won't let this matter rest. She will fight me to the death, even if she has to burn her divine body. What's more, the candle dragon and his sister have nothing to do with each other. We still have the heavenly lion race. They can't kill me, but can't they kill our clansmen? Lion Hong's heart trembled when he heard that. He didn't expect the clan to become a stumbling block in his father's decision. Your son understands. Your son is just a bit angry that she actually said that about you. Dad, can't we find Star-Lord Tsongyue? She ruined Star-Lord Tsongyue's plans. The heavenly lion overlord's eyes were filled with deep disappointment when he heard Lion Hong's words. Dad, did I say something wrong? Lion Hong asked. Foolish. How can I hand over the heavenly lion race to you in your current state? The heavenly lion overlord muttered. Didn't you hear what the candle dragon said? Although that woman is crazy, there's one thing she said that I wasn't wrong. If Star-Lord Tsongyue knows that the fire god is the paragon, he won't continue the marriage. Why? You. The heavenly lion overlord sighed helplessly. He had to explain that he only had this one son. Star-Lord Sanyue needs someone he can control. Star-Lord Sanyue can't control Fire God's breakthrough to the Paragon. If he can't control Fire God, then he's an unstable factor. Do you understand? So that's how it is. Also, I've thought about it. The Fire God never wanted to marry us from the start. I suspect that he intentionally revealed the identity of the Paragon. Also, he said that the Bai clan will guard the outer realms in the future. He also said on purpose. The heavenly lion overlord said, "Tell us." Lion Hong frowned. He said it to Star-Lord Sanyue. The heavenly lion overlord said, what he meant was that the Bai clan will not participate in the human race's internal war in the future. Star-Lord Sanyue should also not have any designs on the Bai clan. If he really wants to come, that's fine. He's also in Paragon. The Bai clan isn't afraid of him. Is he declaring war on Star-Lord Sanyue? The heavenly lion overlord looked at Lion Hong with increasingly helpless and dejected eyes. He sighed softly. It's self-defense. Chapter 2679. Sure Hong didn't understand why the celestial lion overlord had said self-preservation. He wanted to ask, but all he saw was his father's disappointed gaze. Hong-er, your father can explain everything for you. But this is the only problem you need to figure out yourself. If you can't even figure it out, then you don't have the right to assume the position of clan head. The celestial lion overlord patted Sure Hong on the shoulder. Aren't you going to the ancestral dragon clan? Hurry up and go. Don't waste any more time. Understood. Sure Hong silently boarded the ship. The celestial lion overlord stood outside and watched as the warship faded into a speck of light. Does the celestial lion clan still have a future? He sighed inwardly. The celestial lion overlord would soon board his warship. The marriage alliance had failed. He needed to head to the Sanyue galaxy and personally report to planet Lord Sanyue. At a time like this, there was no point in hiding. Everything he'd done before was for the sake of today's marriage alliance. The marriage alliance had ended in failure, and the fire god knew of the relationship between the celestial lion clan and the Sanyue galaxy. There was no longer any need to hide. However, he really didn't understand. Why couldn't Sure Hong understand such a simple question? Self-preservation? Why? Was it so hard to imagine? The celestial lion overlord and his entourage left Planet Een. The fire god didn't even bother to look at them and returned to his seat. Milky Way Lord, this junior is here. I know that just now. The fire god had been about to say it in front of everyone, but halfway through, he suddenly switched to transmission. Given the fire god's strength, no one could understand his transmission. The only thing they could see was Yi Zichen's expression changing dramatically. In the end, he gaped at the fire god, as if he'd forgotten to breathe. Your marriage with Xiaoyu. Wait until you return from the ancestral dragon clan. Or, if you think it's too early, an engagement is also fine. That's what I need to remind you of. The Bai clan will not become the Milky Way galaxy's ally. You must know this. Yes, senior. Yi Zichen nodded. Hua Jinro, the flame rat, and the other's eyes widened in shock. They were about to get engaged, but they still couldn't become allies. However, when he heard Yi Zichen's response, Lord Fire God laughed. You guys can leave now. I can't say much about the ancestral dragon clan. Take care of your safety and pay attention to the people around you. As soon as he finished his words, Lord Vulcan waved his hand. It was as if he had teleported. By the time they came to their senses, Yi Zichen and the others had already arrived at the Bai clan's docking area. What astonishing attainments in space! Winnie stared at the scene in front of her in astonishment. She recalled how the fire god had swung his arm. As expected of an utmost being. I'm afraid that even the overlords who specialize in the control of space are no match for this level of attainment in space. Yi Zichen. Hua Jianro chuckled as she charged forward and punched him on the shoulder. Not bad. You dare to go against so many overlords. Hey, tell me the truth. Is what you said true? What? That's what you said in front of the fire god. Your feelings for our Xiaoyu. The flame rat and Meng Luo were also interested in gossiping. They simply waited for Yi Zichen's reply. That was just a temporary measure, said Baiyu before Yi Zichen could speak. Before Yi Zichen could speak, Baiyu spoke up first. I sent Yi Zichen a transmission to tell him to pretend. Just now, he saw the situation change and change his mind. I see. Meng Luo nodded. Milky Way Lord, thank you so much. Baiyu thanked Yi Zichen earnestly. You're welcome. We're all on the same side. Yi Zichen grinned, but his gaze was unusually solemn. Su Luer frowned for a moment, then wordlessly boarded the warship's cabin. When he saw that she'd left without so much as a transmission, Yi Zichen's heart sank. His sister-in-law's combat prowess was off the charts, and she was also exceptionally intelligent. She'd probably sensed that something was off. She probably resented him. Let's go. Let's head to the cabin. We can't delay our journey to the ancestral dragon clan. Yi Zichen smiled at them, then boarded the ship as well. The others followed behind. After Meng Luo and the Flame Rat entered the warship, they looked around. Great deity, your warship is no good. It definitely can't compare to yours, said Yi Zichen with a smile. Hua Jinro walked up to him again. Hey, Yi, tell me, what did Uncle Fire God say to you just now? He told us to be careful of Shi Hong too. Him? Said Hua Jinro disdainfully. It's fine. When we get to the ancestral dragon clan, we'll be there. He won't dare cause any trouble. I know. You guys go rest. Yi Zichen saw that Hua Jinro and the others weren't in the mood to rest. He glanced at Su Luer, who was standing at the edge of the cabin. After a moment's hesitation, Yi Zichen walked up to her. Big Sister Luer, how can you face my little sister? Su Luer frowned. I didn't do anything. Didn't Baiyu clarify things for me just now? Yi Zichen feigned confusion. Clarify? What's the point of her clarifying things? Su Luer looked coldly at Yi Zichen, her eyes flashing. What did the fire god say to you? Nothing much. He probably said that he knows you were just pretending, and that he won't expose you for his daughter's sake. But since you said it, I hope he can do as you said. The marriage between you and Baiyu is set in stone, right? Yi Zichen stared at her in shock for a long time, not knowing what to say. Everything, almost word for word. So, how are you going to explain this to my little sister? Su Luer let out a deep sigh. It's fine with me. Have you thought about my little sister? I didn't think it would turn out like this either. Yi Zichen replied. His original intention was to help Baiyu with the marriage, but who knew that the fire god would insist on making the best of a mistake and even use the Milky Way as a threat. To be honest, the fire god was being a bit unreasonable. No need to pretend to be innocent. You actually know very well why he did this. Su Luer squinted her eyes. Su Luer narrowed her eyes. I know why you're doing this, and I understand. If you explain it to my little sister, she will understand, but what you can't explain is that Baiyu truly has feelings for you. I can tell. My little sister can definitely tell as well. Yes. Yi Zichen didn't retort. You can accept this marriage out of good intentions, and my little sister might be able to accept it as well, but do you think this is fair to Baiyu? Or should I ask you this? Do you really like her a bit? Chapter 2680. This was a soul-piercing question. Yi Zichen tilted his head and snuck a glance at Baiyu, who'd already immersed himself in cultivation. That girl is absolutely beautiful. She's the most beautiful person I've ever seen. Don't you men all like pretty girls? Sulu sent him another transmission. Yi Zichen knitted his brows and took a deep breath. When it came to looks, Baiyu was naturally flawless. Even Su Lu had to admit that, even in the Nine-Tailed Fox clan, she was the most beautiful. But as for liking her, Yi Zichen asked himself. He really didn't. No. After a long silence, Yi Zichen mulled it over for a long time. My feelings for Baiyu are pure friendship. As for everything else, you might not believe me, but I don't have the energy to flirt. Ever since he'd entered the cosmos, Yi Zichen's nerves had been stretched taut. All he could think about was increasing his strength and ensuring the safety of the Milky Way galaxy. He had no time for romance. That was too extravagant. If he had the time, he'd rather go to the second universe and hunt some vicious beast to earn some money and equip the Milky Way galaxy. Then Baiyu will be the one to get hurt. Things will eventually sort themselves out. Once we return from the ancestral dragon clan, the fire god might not insist on it anymore. Yi Zichen smiled in relief. How unlikely. Su Luer dampened his spirits. Big sister Luer, can't you at least keep me awake? You're really giving me a lot of pressure. I just don't like dreaming. Fine. Yi Zichen shrugged helplessly and sat on the ground, looking out at the vast cosmos. How unlikely. Had the fire god's identity as a supreme expert really been accidentally revealed? Obviously not. If he really didn't want others to know, he could have intercepted that person's words so that no one else in the alleyway would hear. Since others could hear, that meant he wanted them to know. What was his reason for doing this? He wanted the Heavenly Lion Overlord to inform Star Lord San Yue, or perhaps all the other supreme experts. He wanted them to know that the Bai clan had a supreme expert as well, so he could protect himself. That's right. Yi Zichen believed this was a way to protect himself. The reason why he was so convinced was that the Lord Fire God had said something seemingly unintentional. In the future, the Bai family would not participate in the internal struggles of the human race. The Bai clan would guard the outer realms. The Bai family was a distinguished family of the universe. The tilt of this family would have great implications, and it was very likely that it would shake some kind of balance scale. Right now, on the surface, it looked like a confrontation between the Virtual World Corporation and the Archmoon Galaxy. Actually, don't forget that there was still the Paragon Association. It was still uncertain whether the future human race universe would form a tripartite balance. If the Bai family announced that they would join a certain side, do you think the other two parties are afraid? No. No matter how powerful the Bai family was, it was still just a family. In the eyes of the Sanyue Galaxy, the Virtual World Group, and the Supremes Association, it was just a chess piece that was heavier than the others. The heavy chess piece naturally received a lot of attention. No matter who he joined, he would be attacked by the other two parties. They had to get rid of this chess piece that could shake the chessboard, crush him to death. If they stayed in the human race, they would be exterminated because no one was willing to leave behind such a potential threat. If they joined any side, they would be exterminated, because if they were to really make a move against them, it would be a fight between two families. If the Bai family joined the Virtual World Group, then the Sanyue Galaxy could join forces with the Supremes Association. One side would suppress the Virtual World Group, and the other side would attack the Bai family. The Bai family wouldn't be able to stop them. It could be said that it would be safer for him to join the Supremes Association, because no matter what, the Supremes Association was still the highest authority of the human race. If the Bai family joined, anyone who attacked him would have no reason to do so. However, the Supremes Association's strength was too weak compared to the Sanyue Galaxy and the Virtual World Group. The Supremes Association would eventually be destroyed. The Bai family would also be exterminated. The only way to protect himself was to head to the outer region and guard the outer region. No matter what happened internally, the Bai family would act as if they were guarding the gate. No one would kill the guards during an internal conflict. And to prevent such a thing from happening, the Fire God specially mentioned that he had broken through to the Supremes. This was a warning to everyone that the Bai family was guarding the outer region. Don't provoke me. The Bai family didn't want to care about the grudges between you. But if you want to touch my family, I won't let you off easily. That was the Fire God's message. Furthermore, the Fire God mentioned that he wouldn't ally with Yi Zichen for the same reason. In the future, the universes would merge. When the universes merged, the human race of the second universe would join in as well. The human race's internal situation would become even more chaotic. As for why he said he couldn't ally with the Milky Way, because the Virtual World Group was an ally. That was something the entire universe knew. If he allied with the Milky Way, that would mean he'd joined the Virtual World Group. That was why he couldn't do that. The Bai family, they didn't need to ally with anyone. Just having an ally would raise suspicions. All they had to do was guard the outer region. But judging from the Fire God's decision, he'd rather face the outsiders than the internal strife of the human race. It was easy to imagine that in his eyes, the future internal strife of the human race would be even more terrifying than the outsiders. If he wasn't truly at his wit's end, how could he possibly announce that his entire family was going to guard the outer region? The outer region. Once upon a time, only the exiled clans of the human race would go there. By standing guard there, they could make up for their mistakes. Only then could they return to the human race. But even after all this time, not a single family had returned alive from defending the outer region. Even so, he'd still chosen to go to the outer region. Perhaps the fire god was thinking the same thing. He'd rely on his supreme strength to guard the battlefield, and his family would be safe under his protection. Once the human race's internal strife was over, then he could bring his people back. At that time, he'd return in triumph. The victorious side wouldn't attack the heroic family guarding the outer region. He believed that in the human universe, the leaders of quite a few clans had considered this. However, only the Bai family had truly made this decision. That was because the fire god was a supreme expert. He had the confidence. As for the other clans, no matter how large they were, he had to make a choice. This was a game of foresight. Who won and who lost? Winner takes all. Everyone knew that participating in the war meant certain death, but they had to give hope. Who knew? Maybe they'd survive in the end? Even if the chances were slim. The ones who suffered the most were the smaller clans. They didn't even have the right to choose. This was the current state of the human race. The Bai family's fire god had done everything. Everything. For the sake of the clan. Chapter 2681. That was the fire god's decision. Whether it was revealing his identity as a supreme expert or leading his clan to the outside, Yi Zichen could understand. Yi Zichen could understand. He felt like he'd done the right thing, and that it was a very wise decision. Only his final voice transmission remained. He'd practically coerced Bai Yu into marrying off to the Milky Way, even though he knew that everything he'd said was all an act. Why? If the Milky Way had to protect Bai Yu, Yi Zichen wouldn't have refused. Even without the marriage, he was willing to sacrifice his life for his best friend. The fire god should have known this. He'd saved Bai Yu multiple times already, purely as a friend. He had no other intentions. Lu Erjia, do you know why? What do you think? Su Lu seemed to understand what Yi Zichen was asking. Did you not understand the situation back in the alley? Bai Yu's third uncle. Yes. If Bai Yu doesn't get married, he'll kill her? I think it's possible. Su Lu stretched lazily in the cabin. Su Lu stood in the cabin and stretched lazily. In other words, I will absolutely kill her. Bai Yu's father probably did this for his daughter's safety. If the fire god knew, why didn't he keep her third uncle in check? Ow! Su Lu smiled. You're looking at it from a bystander's point of view, so you naturally feel like the fire god is being too lenient. Let me ask you this. If the Milky Way Shang dynasty and the great sage want to pave the way for their children, and your daughter is their stumbling block, they either have to marry off or kill her. What would you choose? This. Yi Zichen looked into Su Lu's eyes. He'd never considered this question because he knew very well that the great sage and the others weren't like that. But if all of this was true, if he put himself in their shoes, he really wouldn't be able to do anything to the great sage. See, you're hesitating too. The fire god is your current state of mind. That's his little brother. He can't kill him. It's not like he can let his own daughter die. That's the only way. That way, Bai Yu's third uncle won't have to worry about anything. When he heard her reply, Yi Zichen looked at her in silence, his heart filled with shock. Su Lu, her thoughts were far too meticulous. In just a short while, she seemed to have analyzed the internal struggles of the Bai family. This also included the thoughts of Fire God and third uncle Bai Yu. After all, she didn't know that third uncle Bai Yu's actions were to pave the way for her son. Yi Zichen also found out from Hua Jinro. If she hadn't said it, Yi Zichen might not have thought about it so deeply. Why are you looking at me like that? Su Lu frowned. Big sis Lu. Yi Zichen gave her a thumbs up. I'm impressed. It's not a big deal. You've only been the leader for a short period of time. I've been the leader for thousands of years. I've seen a lot, so I know a lot. Su Lu's eyes flashed coldly. Frankly speaking, the universe is just a slightly larger Milky Way galaxy. The way people conduct themselves, the way they do things, the way they scheme against each other, they're pretty much the same. Essence. Yi Zichen could sense that as well. What's more, he felt like the schemes on Earth were sometimes even more complicated than in the universe. More calculations, more plots, and more schemes. I'm going to cultivate. Think about Bayou's problem yourself. I don't have to tell my little sister, but you have to think of a way to solve it. With that, Su Luer sat down on the ground. Yi Zichen looked out of the cabin with exhaustion in his eyes. Solve it. That was easy to say, but hard to do. If only he was a cold-hearted person, then he wouldn't be so troubled by these problems. At the same time, Planet Yin's by clan. The departure of the Heavenly Lion Overlord and Milky Way Lord caused the previously bustling alleyway to become much quieter. Bayou's mother stood in front of the alleyway. She looked up at the sky, as if she could still see Bayou's shadow, even though Yi Zichen's worship was already several hundred light years away. Bai Lin, will we be able to see you again? The woman stood in the alley and whispered. Fire God sighed and walked up to her and patted her on the shoulder. They will. They're still coming back to get engaged. We'll still be able to see each other then. Of course, it's hard to say if we're already gone. That's right. The woman sighed and turned around to look at third Uncle Bayou, who was sitting in his seat. This was her brother-in-law. In the past, she'd always been polite to the Bai clan, but today when she looked at third Uncle Bayou, there was a hint of hatred in her eyes. They were all smart people. How could she not know why all of this had happened today? And who was the cause of it all? Let's go back. It just so happens that I have some things to discuss with third brother. Don't stay here. There's also great desert. Oomph. The brawny man snorted angrily. He glared viciously at third Uncle Bayou, then waved his hand and left with the woman. Only third Uncle Bayou and Fire God were left in the alley. Bai Mu, big brother. Third Uncle Bayou slowly stood up, a hint of fear in his eyes. Fire God walked directly in front of him, a complicated look in his eyes. Are you satisfied now? Big brother, let me ask you, are you satisfied now? Fire God's eyes were filled with helplessness. Is the position of clan leader really that important to you? You also know that we will go to outer domain. Do you really have to give this position to your son? I didn't do anything wrong. Bai Mu sternly said. Don't you know that I can kill you right now? Fire God's body was burning with flames. Bai Mu slowly raised his head, his eyes burning with sparks. I believe, from a moment Big Brother took over the clan, I believe that you could always kill me, at any time. Bai Mu, let me tell you, this position of clan leader was originally going to be given to your son. Why did you have to do everything to this extent? Fire God's voice was filled with anger. He glared at Bai Mu, his chest slightly trembling. Bayou is not suitable to be clan leader. I know this very well, but the majority of the clan supports her. Bai Mu did not hide anything. I have to clear the obstacles for my son. You don't mind killing my daughter? Bai Lin shouted. Yes. Hearing this reply, Fire God's hand inexplicably trembled. Now that Bayou is already married far away, you should be satisfied. In the future, she will be the wife of a Milky Way Lord and will no longer have the qualifications to inherit by clan. You have your wish fulfilled. Recall all the people you secretly sent. I can guarantee you that the position of clan leader will belong to your son. Let go of my daughter. I can't bear to kill you. Take care of yourself. Chapter 2682. In the blink of an eye, it had already been 3 months since they left the Bai clan of Planet Een. During that time, their journey had been very smooth. There had been no sudden incidents. Even when they encountered spaceships, they would avoid them when they were far away. Thus, the Bai clan's matters came to an end. As for the engagement, that wasn't something he should be thinking about. Things would eventually sort themselves out. Haha, it's fine. If you hadn't come looking for me, I would have tried to talk to you about it. There are a lot of family matters I have to deal with. If I really go with you to the Ancestral Dragon clan, it really won't be very convenient. In the projection, Steel Bar was smiling in an honest manner. Beside him were the 2 sisters, Bayu and Bayin. It seemed like thanks to the little fatty's tireless efforts, the Steel Bar family had already accepted Bayin. She had also begun to manage some of the family's internal affairs. It was just a pity. In truth, Yi Zichen quite admired Bayin. Back when she was his butler, although she was still very young, Yi Zichen rather liked her style of doing things. If it weren't for the fact that Steel Bar had designs on Bayin, Yi Zichen really did want to take her back to the Milky Way and have her manage the Milky Way's internal affairs with Yinshan. He believed that she definitely wouldn't disappoint him. As for Beiyu, she naturally wanted to follow her older sister. She had originally wanted to come to the Milky Way, but there were far too many unsettling factors. Yi Zichen hoped that she could stay with the Steel Bar family. No matter what, in the universe, the Steel family could be considered a first-rate family power. If Beiyu stayed there, she would be safe. She would also be able to receive a better education. Big Brother Zichen, I'm in the cosmic system level now. Beiyu waved towards Yi Zichen in the projection and reported her recent situation. Not bad. To be able to break through from the domain level to the cosmic system level in 10-odd years, and as a member of the Shell Clan at that, Yi Zichen could tell that she had worked very hard. Otherwise, her strength couldn't have increased by leaps and bounds. Study well with Steel Bar. When I return from the Ancestral Dragon Clan, I'll give you a present. What present? Beiyu asked in confusion. You'll know when I return. Yi Zichen smiled. But there's a condition for this gift. You have to be at least above the Warlord level. This gift was the one Yi Zichen had bought a while ago. Planet Shell. In order to buy this life star, Yi Zichen had paid a hefty price. His original intention was to buy it for Beiyu. If Beiyu wasn't strong enough, she wouldn't be qualified to manage this life star. Even if he gave it to her, it might be snatched back by those galactic pirates. Therefore, Shellstar is now under the jurisdiction of the Milky Way. Of course, it was a happy thing to receive a gift. However, Beiyu was stunned when she heard that he had to reach the Warlord level. Warrior level. She was only at the star system level 1, and was still far from the universe level. Moreover, there had never been any news of anyone breaking through to become a warlord on the Shell planet. To be able to reach the universe level was already very impressive. It was all for Big Brother Zichen's good intentions. She decided to give it a try. I definitely won't disappoint Big Brother Zichen. Beiyu wrinkled her nose. While Bei Li's voice sounded in Yi Zichen's ears. We're at the energy resupply point in front of us. We need to replenish ourselves, otherwise, we won't be able to reach the Ancestral Dragon Clan's coordinates with our current energy reserves. All right. Yi Zichen nodded, then waved at the projection. I have to go resupply. Let's talk about it when we have time. Big Brother Zichen, be careful. Yi Zi, be careful. Mr. Yi, we'll be waiting for you. Yi Zichen couldn't help but grin when he saw the solemn atmosphere in the projection. You guys, why do you make it sound like we're going to part forever? I'm going to get some experience. Be careful when I come back. I might have already broken through to the Overlord level. Keep bragging. Steel Bar looked at him in disdain. How could it be so easy to break through to the Overlord level? However, in his heart, he truly hoped that Yi Zichen would return as an Overlord. We'll be waiting for you. Bayin and I might be getting married by the time you come back. You have to attend. Don't worry, I'll definitely be there. Yi Zichen smiled. The projection ended. Yi Zichen's smile also faded. To be honest, he wasn't too sure what would happen if he went to the Ancestral Dragon Clan. He probably wouldn't die. Otherwise, Meng Luo and the other seniors wouldn't let them go. I'm sure they all know about the Ancestral Dragon Clan. Who were those people just now? Hua Jinro walked over with curiosity in her eyes. I didn't expect you to know so many people in the universe. Reserve teammates. It's just that I can't go and pick them up because of the time. Yi Zichen shrugged, then tilted his head at Bailey. How much longer until we get to the resupply area? 30 minutes. Bailey gave an accurate answer. Yi Zichen nodded. That's fine. We'll go to the spatial resupply station later to resupply. I'm sure you're all tired after traveling in the universe for so long. If you're interested, we can go out for a walk. Okay. Meng Luo was the first to cheer. Previously, they were trapped on Planet Een and couldn't go to other galaxies. However, Planet Een was huge, so it wasn't that boring. Now that they could finally leave Planet Een, who would have thought that they'd have to sit in the warship every day? She imagined the journey to be filled with danger. It would be best if they could meet some space pirates or war criminals and fight them. Or if they found some treasure, and many people would go and fight for it. That kind of journey was more interesting. But there was nothing. If it wasn't for the virtual network and the warship and the occasional trip to the second universe, Meng Luo might have been bored to death. Great my ass. Hua Jianrou patted Meng Luo's head. The spatial resupply station is a space station. What do you think it is? There's nothing to see even if we get out. Ah. Meng Luo was stunned. She instantly sat on the floor like a frosted eggplant and whined, I don't want to. I don't want it. I want to go on an adventure. I don't want to sit here every day. You'll come after we go to the ancestral dragon clan. Yi Zichen rubbed her head with a smile. Yi Zichen caressed her head with a chuckle. Endure it for a bit longer. When we get there, you might not want to take the risk, but we'll have to bite the bullet. How much longer? Meng Luo pouted. Very soon. Just as they were speaking, they could see a huge space supply station floating in space within their line of sight. All right, get ready to resupply. Get ready to get down. Chapter 2683. Connie Universe Country. Space Supply Station 367. The main purpose of this space supply station was to supply energy to battleships and spaceships on long-distance voyages. Due to its special location, adjacent to 6 universe countries, this was a large space supply depot that could accommodate 30,000 ships simultaneously. There were also people living in the space station. Because working in the space station was not as convenient as working on a LifeStar, the family members of the space station would also live in the space station. Fortunately, the space station was huge. Although it couldn't be compared to a LifeStar, it could accommodate hundreds of thousands of people. Hello. We need to replenish our energy. When he arrived at the reception desk, he saw a blue-skinned, middle-aged man with horns on his head. What spaceship? Model 477 Interstellar Battleship. Battleship? The middle-aged man tilted his head and glanced at it. Then you might have to wait for a while. The battleship's fuel just ran out 3 days ago. Our transport personnel have already gone to Resource Planet to transport it. How long? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. You should be back soon. If you need, you can get a number plate from me now. The middle-aged man replied. Bailey? We're a battleship's energy supply. There aren't many space stations that provide battleship resupply services. Bailey's fingers tapped in the air. It'll take about a month to get there, and we'll have to deviate from our normal route. Sir, do you need it? The uncle asked. Okay, please give me your number. The middle-aged uncle smiled as he placed an energy crystal on the service counter. This is your serial number. While you're waiting, you can walk around our space station. We have many delicacies here that you might not have tasted in your original universe country. You can try them. Delicacy. Meng Luo's eyes immediately lit up. Okay, thank you. After putting away the serial number, Meng Luo started yelling. Gourmet food is fine. There's gourmet food. Almighty, I want to take a look. Why are you so happy? Yi Zichen caressed her head. Go. Be careful. I'll wait for you guys in the resting area. Almighty, aren't you going? I'm not going. All right. Meng Luo ran out excitedly, followed by the Flame Rat and Hua Jianrou. Winnie, follow them. All right. Resting area of the Space Supply Station. As the largest space supply depot in Connie Universe Country, it also had the largest flow of people. People from all over the universe could be seen here all year round. Of course, they all looked different. In less than 5 minutes, Yi Zichen saw pretty much all of their skin and hair colors. Yi Zichen and company sat on the benches in the resting area. Actually, the place provided lodging as well, but they didn't come here to rest. If it wasn't for the fact that there were no energy reserves, they wouldn't have stayed here in the first place. From where they were, they could clearly see Meng Luo and the others shuttling back and forth between the delicacies outside the resting area. So, this is also considered a human. Yi Zichen saw that it was over 6 meters tall, like a giant. Its head was covered in moss, and it didn't have a head. In short, it looked a bit like Xingqian. There was an eyeball the size of a fist at its heart, born with 4 legs, 6 hands. This is the instrument race at the border of your human race universe. What you saw just now was probably at the warlord level. Bell replied, How could you tell? Watch my hand. Bailey replied, They have 2 hands in their domain stage. Every time they break through a major stage, they will have an extra arm. Don't think that they don't have arms. These fellows' arms can be detached from their bodies to fight. What? Separate from the body? Actually, they belong to a branch of the mech race. Every part of their bodies is an assembled weapon. When they are born, they only have one life core. Bailey explained, when the mechanical race betrayed the human race, they chose to support the human race, which was why they were recognized by the human race. Is his entire body a weapon? Yi Zichen exclaimed. It's even a destructive thermal weapon. Bailey laid on Yi Zichen's shoulder and pointed at the weapon race giant. Look at how big he is right now. His body might be filled with F-grade explosives. Are you serious? Yi Zichen was shocked. Then, when the giant from the Weapon League sat down in the resting area, the humans from the other clans subconsciously made way for him. No one dared to come within 100 meters of him. Their eyes were filled with fear. Do you think I'm talking about a human-shaped self-destruct device for nothing? Bailey muttered. I'm telling you, the space stations aren't really willing to receive people from the weapon race. I understand that. A large amount of energy was stored in a space supply station, just like a gas station on Earth. You can't even light a cigarette near a gas station. If you do, boom, don't even live. This weapon race giant was a mobile and unstable self-destruct device. If he self-destructed here, the entire space station, including the neighboring life planets, would be affected. In other words, everyone's lives were in the hands of this weapon race giant. As expected, when they saw someone from the weapon race, the humans who were resting in the resting area all started to leave. Spaceships flew out of the space station as if they were fleeing for their lives. The workers of the space station, they all jogged over to ask about the weapon race's needs and did their best to satisfy any request. Should we leave? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Up to you. Bailey shrugged. Leaving right now is indeed a reasonable choice. But if we leave, we'll have to deviate from our flight path to another space station to resupply. That might waste some time. He probably won't self-destruct, right? Yi Zichen muttered. I don't think so. Bailey wasn't too sure either. Who can say for sure? But if he chooses to self-destruct, he'll die anyway. What's more, there's only been one instance of a weapon race member self-destructing in a space station. It really happened? Yeah, Bailey nodded. That weapon race member did it for revenge. Back then, there were enemies in the space station who killed his daughter and stole her life core. Then he self-destructed. Yeah, how many people died? Not too many. Bailey shook his head. I heard that before he self-destructed, he notified everyone else, leaving only the group of war criminals alive. So he's rather kind-hearted. People from the weapon race are rather kind-hearted. If you don't truly piss them off, they won't do anything too out of line, Bailey shrugged. Actually, it's the same for us machines. It's just that you humans have been harassing us and feeling like we're a threat. Otherwise, we wouldn't have betrayed you back then. What's the point of saying all this now? Yi Zichen rolled his eyes. Just pray that this big bro of the weapon race is a rational person and lets us replenish our energy in peace before we leave. Then everything will be fine.